PRI is the only place in the world where you get the entire ecosystem of motorsports in one place at one point in time. You're talking about tracks that are 40, 50, 60 years old, multi-generationally ran. They are still paycheck to paycheck. If we can help understand what it is that's going on at these tracks, and we can help them put butts in seats, developers come in and they put in $1 million homes on 100 acres, a half a mile or 2 miles or a mile away. Once those homes get built, 2 years after those homes are built, there's now a lawsuit filed because the track is making so much noise 20 days a year or whatever, and they want the track shut down. Like those things are happening. And there's actually a motorsports nuisance protection bill in the works right now. Your 12-year-old son, you give him $800 to build a sim, he can go online and race against a guy that's got a $100,000 sim sitting next to his Ferrari in his garage. And they're equal. I think we've all been surprised on what people watch online. Can I ask, you're in my shoes. You get to decide what to do with the PRI show. What do you think is missing, or what would you like to see at PRI that maybe you're like, why don't they think of that?
Yeah.
My answer would be, welcome back. Another episode of Oil and Whiskey. This episode is brought to you by WeatherTech. WeatherTech's cargo liner provides complete cargo area protection and coverage to defend against daily wear and tear.
Laser measured for a perfect fit to the vehicle's exact make and model.
Raised outer lip keeps messes contained, avoiding damage from scuffs, spills, dirt, and all your other daily mishaps.
Great for hauling tools, sports gear, groceries, and more. A tough textured finish helps keep cargo from shifting during the drive. Easy installation and removal for quick cleanup.
For those that are transporting their dog or other animals in the back area, makes cleaning up pet hair, slobber, muddy and wet paw marks very easy. Much more so than factory carpet.
Offered in 4 colors, black, tan, gray, cocoa, to match floor liner and floor liner HP. 100% made in the USA, so you can be assured of its quality.
Go to WeatherTech.com to check out the cargo liner today. This week, we've got none other than president of PRI. That's the performance racing industry for those in the know. Right? Those letters actually stand for something.
Josh, our acronym master.
That's right. I looked it up beforehand. So.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
See, I would have just put it together. I feel like it just made sense.
It says it right under there in the corner.
Mike Good. Mike, glad to have you, man.
Thanks, gentlemen. It's an honor to be on the show. I appreciate it. And as I said earlier, long-time listener, first-time caller. So it's hopefully be a fruitful and somewhat memorable conversation.
No, it always is. Or sometimes you don't remember it at all, depending on
there you go.
How deep in the bourbon we get.
You bring up that first-time listener or long-time listener, first-time caller. We keep thinking that maybe next year is going to be the year we do open up like for call-ins. But we also know this industry well enough to know that's probably not the best thing. They can always be edited, but I know what's going to come.
Yeah, it's opening up the floodgates right there.
Maybe we'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Keep things interesting.
Remember the reporter that went viral for like doing the guy that runs up behind her? That's what I see that kind of stuff happening in this industry. Well, Mike, you mentioned a little bit before we got going. You mentioned your roles at Dynamat. You're also with high up with Finish Master before then. I know we've got a lot to talk about with PRI and
sure.
do the whole plug there. But let's get to know you first. Of like, who are you?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. It's my career path's been it's not been a straight line, that's for sure. It's jogged a variety of different paths, and always been born in northeastern Ohio, Youngstown, Ohio. And Dad was a General Motors guy forever, and I spent my youth being dragged to the tracks, and then I was dragging him to the tracks once I figured out what was there. And we moved to Indianapolis in 1984 with a General Motors move. I was a young kid, and I went to my first Indy 500 and saw a whole other spectrum from tractor pulls and dirt tracks to the 2.5 mile oval, and just kind of anything with the motor. I was in it, and I was chasing it, and I couldn't afford to do the cars early on, so I got into motocross, and I wanted to buy a dirt bike. My dad said, "Well, I'm not going to buy you one," and I was a young kid, not even old enough to drive, and got a paper route, saved my money, bought a Honda CR80. This was back when two strokes were alive and thriving, and saved that, upgraded, went on to ride CR125s for a while, and had a blast doing that. And if I had grown up anywhere other than flat Indiana, I would have tried to do it probably as a career. Like I just was deeply passionate about it. And but life goes on. Went to college and always stayed close to it. But I got out of college, and I guess to be candid and just be fully transparent, in your 20s and 30s, a lot of times you find yourself chasing titles and salaries and kind of the wrong things. And I started a company in my late 20s and grew that company and was able to exit that company and stayed kind of up in the corporate management suite, if you will. And it wasn't until I was probably 41 that I actually branched into the automotive sector, where I had been trying to get to my whole career. And God's got a plan in all of our lives, and I feel like it just kind of navigated, and doors opened and opportunities created themselves, and I kind of knew when to run through a door or when to shut the door and go the other way. And it's been a rocket ship ever since. And now, with 2 kids in college and 1 in high school, the big lesson that I'm teaching them, because they're thinking about their future lives, is like, align your passion with your careers, man, and you won't feel like you're working at all. And I'm hoping, and I would think outside looking in, that you guys might be living a little bit of that. But it's been pretty cool. And to get a little more to present day, COVID was going on at the time. I was working for Finish Master, and in March of 2020, we all remember this time when the world kind of stopped. That was a collision and repair industry product line, and there were no cars on the road, so there were no collisions happening. And
amazing how that works.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it cars.
Right. It gave them kind of pause to stop and look at the company. And around that same time, I got a phone call from a gentleman named Scott Whitaker that you guys might know just through the Roadster Shop days, and your lives in your other job, if you will.
Nobody can forget that hairdo. I mean, that's one of the best hairdos in the industry.
And long story short, Scott called me and said, "Hey, I sold the company, and they're looking for a CEO. You know the industry, you know my product line, and I've known Scott most of my life." And threw my name in the hat, and I took over Dynamat in June of 2020, and we had a rocket ship ride, as a lot of aftermarket companies did, through that early COVID wave, I'll call it. And then I had an equity stake in it and was growing the company, was in a great place, and got a text from somebody that worked for me in a previous life, and she's now on my team. And she said, "Hey, PRI's looking for a president based in Indianapolis. You should throw your name in the hat." And I said, "Hope you're doing great. No thanks. Hit send." And didn't think anything of it. And by the grace of God, she called back, or she texted back, and she said, "Well, would you at least have a conversation with somebody in the executive management team?" And I said, "Sure." And one thing led to another, and that was, I want to say August of 23. And I was standing in the Phoenix airport talking to a gentleman that's now on my team, Jim Lau. And we talked for like an hour and a half, and I was like, "Okay, I get it. I see what they're trying to do." And threw my name in the hat and met Mike Spagnola and several of the board members. And one thing led to another, and I'm about, 20 months in, and it's been a ride. It's been pretty cool.
That's awesome. You mentioned Finish Master. You were at Finish Master in Exalta days, not DuPont days, right?
Correct. Yes, sir. Yep, Exalta days.
Finish Masters. Y'all have Finish Masters up here?
Yeah.
Big time?
Yeah, we worked with Finish Master for years.
Yeah, and they were acquired by LKQ a couple of years ago after I had left. But and I think they're still doing great. I think all those folks, a lot of those same folks, are still there under the LKQ umbrella, and I think they're thriving. And LKQ is obviously a Goliath, and they continue to do their thing. So yeah, and there's a whole bunch of racing and crazy car stories along the way through that whole storyline that I just gave you. But that's kind of how I got here from a corporate perspective, I guess.
What'd your dad do at GM?
So he started out on the floor, and he was a double E from Kettering. It was called GMI when he was there. Now it's called Kettering. And he went into electrical engineering, got on the floor, and then kind of evolved his way up. And he ended up, when he retired, he was I think his title was Manager of Organizational Development. And so in the 80s, he was he was kind of the liaison between the union and corporate. So it was pretty crazy. It was a pretty crazy role, especially in Youngstown, Ohio. I don't know what you guys know about Youngstown, but
Not a lot.
so a lot going on there. And we moved here in 1984. At the time, Allison Gas Turbine was owned by General Motors, and he came over and worked for Allison. And then Rolls-Royce bought Allison in 1992. He took a payout and retired and became a management consultant. But yeah. So he did a lot of different things. He started out on the floor and then got up to a foreman and then kind of climbed his way up and had a really good ride.
You mentioned in your 20s and 30s chasing a title and stuff. Was that at that point? Did you not think that Automotive had it? And once you go through that, especially from PRI and your experience now, you're dealing with a lot of the younger generation that is wanting to get into this field for a living.
Yes.
So what do you tell them different than what you told yourself?
Yeah, for me back then, so I'm a brand guy. Like, I build brands. I came up really through marketing and operations roles and was CMO of companies and wore that type of hat. And I'd always tinkered with cars and played with them and ripped them apart and tore them apart in my garage. And I never, my dad, even though he was with GM and loved racing, he wasn't like a car guy. Like, he didn't want to just like lay down and get under the car and start wrenching on it. And I did. And, it was a little bit of like, this was, let's say, early 90s. I didn't really understand the best avenue to go down and to try to create an opportunity. Looking back, I would have gone and just knocked on somebody's door and said, let me empty your trash cans for $10 an hour and I'll find my path. And I've told my kids that same thing, like, whatever your dream is, just get your foot in the door doing anything. And then you can make your own way. You've got the grit and hard work. And, it wasn't, I think it was just lack of vision on my part, really. And it wasn't until I got a little older, I rolled the dice. I started my own company, and that was a software company. And we took off. And but I wasn't passionate about it. I was good at it. And I didn't think about it when I was off hours. We live in an industry that's so rooted in passion. It's I shared that at the grand opening breakfast last year. I was like, even though I don't know the 4,000 people in this room, we all have one thing in common. We all are here based on the passion of something. And that is the one uniqueness of motorsports for sure. And definitely the automotive aftermarket is that there's that common thread that goes through all of us. And, in no other sport do you see competitor A say, hey, competitor B, you're going to be up against me on the line later at the tree, and but I noticed you need a part for your engine. I've got it. Let me help you out. Like, that's what it's the community of the industry that is you can't replicate it. And I've worked in healthcare and I've worked in tech, and it's just a different thing. You can't really describe it unless you're in it. And that's a long-winded answer to your question, but it's been a serendipitous ride, I guess. And it's been a lot of fun, though. And, now that we're in it, driving a massive change, I spend a lot of time. There's 3 big initiatives we're focused on, but one of them, touching on this point, is around our NextGen initiative. It's like, how do we attract the next generation into the motorsports segment? And, I'll use my son as an example. I bought a Fox body back when COVID started because I wanted to teach him how to work on cars. And that 302 is a perfect car to like tinker on, and a Fox body you can find parts for nothing.
What trim level?
It was a 93 GT convertible.
So it's a GT.
Yeah. Well, no, I would have loved an LX notchback for sure. So
because he's cool.
I know what's up. I just couldn't find one. No, this was a Cars and Coffee car. This was not a take it to the drag strip. And what I learned, what he learned in that was he loves everything about cars, but he just didn't like working on them, and it wasn't his thing. And I don't fault him for that. But he's a sophomore in college right now at Indiana University, and he's looking at accounting. And I'm like, okay, so play that out for me. What's 10 years down the road look like as an accountant? And he's like, I don't know, maybe I'm on a partner track at a firm. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But what if you got out of college at 21, 22 years old and you take your degree and you go knock on, I'll use Andretti Global because they're building this 450,000 square foot Andretti Global headquarters here about 5 miles from where I live. And I said, what if you go knock on their door and you say, let me empty trash cans and let me do some menial work in your finance department. And then at 25, you're a junior controller. At 28, you're a controller. At 35, you're the CFO of Andretti Global. You've taken your accounting, you've taken what you're good at, and your studies, and you've aligned it with this passion that you have, and you're able to kind of marry the two. And that's a totally different path in your life.
Yeah.
That, and it's telling that story a lot because, I spent a lot of time talking to Purdue, and I'm going to meet with Auburn University and Marion University and many others. And, I tell them, I'm like, every race team, manufacturer, sanctioning body, track, they all have marketing, sales, finance, HR. They have all this stuff. So don't put blinders on and think because you can't do the things that the guys at Roadster Shop do from an engineering perspective that you don't have a path in motorsports. Obviously, the technical team, the technical path, like motorsports, Purdue Motorsports engineering programs, crazy. I think it's the only accredited motorsports program in the United States. And those guys are doing, state-of-the-art aerodynamic testing, and it's a foreign language to me when I go in there and see what they're doing.
Are you allowed to promote Purdue while your son goes to IU? Isn't that
well, I got a daughter at Purdue as well, so yeah, we are truly a divided house. I've got a senior at Purdue, a sophomore at IU, and a sophomore in high school. So it's I'm just throwing the money all over Indiana, I guess. But
well, yeah. So you said something about the money. I don't want to derail. I want to add, I think that you just laid out that career path. Speaking about your son as succinctly and eloquently as anybody has ever done, right? And it's just a very clear.
Yeah.
And you could.
I got excited about it hearing it. I can imagine. And your son, well, I was curious how that resonated with him. How that sat with him. If he ever rolled around that concept, or if it ever even clicked.
100%. He's now he's sophomore in college. He's 19 years old, so it's changed all of the targets he has for doing internships next summer. Because now he's like, okay, let's chase that. Let's pursue that and see if I can get in there. And, conversely, my daughter, just to stay on that for a second, she spent the summer in Rochester, Minnesota doing an internship at the Mayo Clinic. And she was one of 4 kids. This is a dad brag for a second. She was one of 4 kids out of like 906 that were chosen to do this internship.
Wow.
And what she learned from it was, maybe I don't want to do healthcare. So that's what the internship's about, right? As much as learning the skill of whatever you're going to learn, but it's also learning.
It's a dry run.
Is this the right? It's a free dry run that you get to try when nobody's keeping score.
Yeah.
And so,
well, where I was going, I think that it's so important the way you laid it out and how you can mirror those, marry those passions and with skill set, and you can plug and play. You can take the CFO part out. You can put CMO. You can put engineering. You can put anything in there, fabricating, whatever. The only caveat to that is, just for any kids listening, you're going to have to get out of that empty and trash phase pretty quick to pay off those student loans. That's the thing that we're living in today. That is the only wrench, so to speak, in the plan is like 100% you need to do it. You can push those loans off, like, pay the minimum.
Couldn't agree more. There's a whole other path that we haven't discussed, but to touch upon it quickly, as much as I told my kids, I was like, you don't have to go to college to have a great life and be happy and however you define success, you can achieve that without college. I said the college degree just gives you it just gives you some options that you wouldn't have otherwise. But you can create opportunity in any path, now more than ever, I feel like. And I'm 53, so I graduated high school in 1990, and it felt like I was more directed. I don't know if it was just the outside influences of pushing me to go to college, and and I bombed out, and I had pen on the paper at the Marine Recruiter, 1991 when the Gulf War was going on, and looking back, I should have done it. My dad was a Marine, and I went home and talked to my dad, and he he talked me out of it because we were at a time of war, and I didn't do it. But either way, life's played out. But where I was going with that whole thing was around skilled trades. I told Jake, my 19-year-old, I said, Jake, when you're 30, the wealthiest guy in your neighborhood is going to be the welder, because nobody wants to do. Your generation, we're having a hard time attracting your generation to doing these skilled trades jobs. And you find somebody that can TIG weld or fabricate or do a roll pan. Some of it's a lost art. It's a world you guys live in more than I do right now, I'm sure, of trying to find talent that's excited about it. And they're not just trying to get a paycheck, but they want to thrive and become experts and subject matter experts in whatever that trade is. And so I think that's a whole other thing that we're going to have. It's going to go through a reinvention, I believe, of some sort. It's going to have to.
We've talked about it a couple of times on here, and
sure.
I think the vast majority of people our age are seeing that now and are giving their kids that real advice, and they are seeing it more on social media and influencers, people talking about that there is a clear path to success outside of college. I think that it's probably a half a generation or a full generation late, because especially from car side, we talked about this in depth, and we took ownership of it especially in the automotive industry. For the most part, everybody's kind of made it by grit, right? And there's so many things that you've sacrificed along the way to make it to where you're making it. And just like your dad talked you out of going in the Marines because of a time of war, he wanted better and safer for you. And we do the same thing, for the past generation or two, where it's been like, yeah, I've figured it out, right? You need it. I want you to have better. I want you to have it easier. I want it the hard way. I did the hard way. There's a smarter, better way. But we've
chasing the money a little bit too, and seeing how everybody else got successful and thinking that's the
but it's behind the eight ball. And now, like you said, if that advice to your son about the richest person in the neighborhood is going to be the welder had happened 15 years ago, en masse, we would be in a different situation, But everybody's kind of to blame of like, no, go do better. I'm stupid, and I got lucky and had to work hard to get where I'm at. Go get smarter via school, and you'll have an easier path. It's wrong. It was the wrong, as a whole anyway. It was wrong advice.
You're right,
It's interesting to see how that is shifting. Culturally, even looking at
it dawned on me today, just out of the blue. I was on the road. I'm on the highway, and I'm looking over at a really clean rig, like a Peterbilt, and you could tell it was an owner operator. There was some sort of sign on the trailer he was hauling.
Right.
And you look over at the guy, and you could see, classic truck driver, right? Vest on, dude looked cool, glasses, trucks clean as a whistle.
The Marlboro man.
Yeah, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, what young man in today's world is going to go out and take a loan out and go buy a Kenworth or a Peterbilt and decide that I'm an owner-operator?
Yeah.
And what happens? And the amount of shit that needs to be moved. It's shocking. I mean, obviously, it's it offsets it with massive logistics companies and things. But
was it a cattle truck?
No, it wasn't. Those are just pretty.
They always have pretty badass.
Cattle ones have.
But it just caught me for that minute, and I started thinking about it. I'm like, man, I mean, it's just dead. It's got to be dead, right? It's a bygone era.
It's the pendulum shift, and it's once the gaps continue to be there and get deeper. I mean, I would love them to stay in the automotive trades, but those trades go construction industry, or anything else. I mean, plumbers, electricians. I mean, gone are the days of being able to look through and find 10 experts, right? Now it's like everybody's word of mouth and know a guy, and like, well, don't use this guy. He didn't show up. He didn't do this job good. If you find anybody in the trades that's that guy, that's word of mouth, that's like gold. Like, oh, this dude's going to do a good job and quality.
Yeah, there's a school out of Italy. It's called MTS, Motorsports Technical School, and they just opened up earlier this year in Indianapolis. Their first, I don't know, school, I'll call it, on North American soil, and it's here in Indy. They've already had one graduating class, and it's a vocational trade school. and it's all about learning how to work on race cars and how to work on fabricating and all aspects of it. And they've got, I don't know, maybe it's 40,000 square foot building. And I went to the grand opening about a month ago, and they had already been open for probably 6 months, and they finally had this grand opening party, and it was packed. And the buzz about it is spectacular. And this is a company that's been doing it, I think, since 2004 or 5 in Italy. And so they've got the process down, and their folks are going to work for companies like Dallara and Ferrari and Lamborghini and over there in Italy. And they brought that model here to test it because they're like, they see the gap that nobody's addressing this. And now this one is specific to motorsports more so than maybe what you guys would be looking for, but it's that same, they're teaching that mindset, right? And so I'm hopeful, that we're going to see more of that start to happen. Dave Kindig partnered with, it's called the Kindig, I don't want to say studio, but he's teaching fabricating. Is it Ivy Tech or ITT? It's one of the schools out in Denver, I believe. And it's called the Kindig Academy. And it just launched I was at Dynamat because that's how I met Dave Kindig. I called him and said, we've never done business together. I don't know if you use my product, but I see what you're doing at Kindig Academy, and I'm all in. I'll give the school as much Dynamat as they want to teach. And that's how we ended up becoming partners with him. And it was all to help the next gen. And we've gone on and developed a heck of a friendship and put his cars in our Dynamat booth for, 3 years running. But that all stemmed from helping somebody bring an academy to life to attract the next gen. And it's pretty cool.
You mentioned a good segue. I was going to go there was you mentioned Dallara, you mentioned Ferrari, you mentioned the Italian Institute. Indianapolis is always been an odd place for me because it's Indianapolis, right? So not throwing any shade.
No, you're good.
It's a Midwest town, right? It's Indianapolis,
100%.
right? There's nothing there that's just like so.
The crossroads of America. There's no mountains. There's no water.
It's just nondescript. It's Indianapolis. It's another town. It's Cleveland. It's Cincinnati. It's
most stuff in the Midwest is that way. There's not a lot of great attractions.
So you've got
landscape.
You've got the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, right? And you've got the Indy 500 that obviously has its generational.
It's got a little history there.
Got a little history, right? But then around Indianapolis, in fairly nondescript, office parks and, distribution centers and massive warehouses, you have places like Dallara. You have all of these. I'm butchering what I'm trying to say, but you've got this. You've got this. Such a highbrow, foreign, way smarter motorsports engineers, most everybody with accents. They already sound cooler, right? When they're talking about what, then they say things like bonnet, right? And they use all types of different automotive terminology.
It ain't no hood. That's for sure.
It's been around Indianapolis for so many years, and it's so weird when you get into those, circles or talking to somebody and you see that some of this manufacturing and some of this technology that's in Indianapolis. But it also hasn't changed Indianapolis that much. It's just, if you know in these things. The only thing I can relate it to would be Huntsville, Alabama, right? Because Huntsville, Alabama's Huntsville, right? It's not Birmingham, right? It's not, right. If you're in the area with NASA and all of the space exploration type of technology, it's crazy the amount of engineers, the amount of, multinational companies that are based in Huntsville, and Indianapolis is the same way. It's like it's this little secret thing, and you run into these circles, and people are like, "Oh yeah, so and so," and then you got Dallara there, and these are huge, multinational companies that do things on a different level than what our traditional motorsports, drag racing and NASCAR and some of that stuff does. It's weird.
No, it's cool. We have, Ganassi, we have so many different race teams based here. NHRA, Brownsburg, Indiana, which is just a tad west of Speedway. I don't even know how many number of top fuel NHRA teams are there. Antron Brown, John Force, all the names, Ron Capps, all have a huge presence there. And DeLaura, they're our next door neighbor. I don't know if you've been to Main Street and Speedway. That's where the PRI.
About 10 years
ago.
Okay,
it looks nothing like it did 10 years ago. I can assure you that. It's pretty cool. PRI bought a building 3 years ago this past May, so let's call it 3.5 years ago. The building was built in 2012 by Sarah Fisher, and it was her race team, Sarah Fisher Racing. And then it moved on to become Harding Racing, and then we bought it 3 years ago, and that's now the PRI headquarters. And right next door to us is DeLaura's North American headquarters, which is ran by a gentleman named Stefano De Ponte, and his Italian accent, I could never do it justice, but they're unbelievable, and we get to really understand how they think, how they work, and you're right though, there is a level of sophistication and how they run their operations that I think are good to model off of. And it's good to bring, our way is not always the best way. Let's look at how others are running their companies and learn and share best practices and deploy those. And, that's definitely been a model of that. Indiana does bill itself as the racing capital of the world, obviously because of the landmark of the IMS, but there's so much going on in technical innovation related to speed in Indiana, and it's pretty crazy. And then you go to you got Hoosier Tire, based up in northern Indiana. That if you're on a drag strip, there's probably got their rubber on your car, and so there's all kinds of pockets of really cool stories like that, of all these innovators and disruptors. And when SEMA bought PRI in 2012, coincidentally, part of the deal at the time, the PRI show was in Orlando, and part of the deal that Scooter Brothers and them wanted to do was to make sure that it was back in Indianapolis. And it came back to Indy in December of 2012, and it hasn't left. And we put our headquarters here, and we're locked in. We're locked in on Indy, and now we could talk about the show as much as you guys want, but that's now become. It's the largest trade show in the state by square footage, 1.2 million square feet, and we take over all of the convention center, all of Lucas Oil Stadium, and bring in about $70 million in economic impact in a week in December in Indiana. Yeah. And so, and Indianapolis knows if the PRI show were to leave, you're probably not going to replace that revenue in December in Indiana. So they know that they treat us really well and roll out the red carpet for the PRI show, and it's been a really good marriage, for sure.
For Indiana being so innovative when it comes to speed, you think they would innovate a way to maybe pave I-65 better? Because if you want to focus on speed, I don't think you can't go faster than like 35 miles an hour down that street. Bending a wheel,
especially it's given them. They've been at it for 15 years too. Like
about 25, at least that I know of.
I have been broke down on the side of the road maybe 5 times in my life, in kind of a real true oh shit moment. They were all on 65 between Chicago and Indianapolis.
They got 465 dialed now, but everything north of there.
That is a gauntlet.
Yeah, because you guys are all Chicago based, right?
Yeah.
It's a shame that it's so hard to get from me to you or you to me.
It's so close.
It's so close.
There's times that you can leave and you can get there in 2.5 hours. There's also times you can leave and get there in 6 hours.
Yeah, they've got Chicago. They've just got
it's done.
90-94.
I think we're stuck. I'm starting to get claustrophobic because there's not a way out.
You're gonna need a helicopter, dude. They've got it both ways. 294 is a disaster. And
dude, I had to go. I had to get Jody from the airport yesterday on a Sunday, right? Later in the day, but still, it took me 1 hour and 45 minutes to get from my house to O'Hare.
Yeah.
Halfway through on 53, I had to abandon and go the back way.
We came back from the FabTech show. We were just at the FabTech show.
Oh, sure.
McCormick Place. And that, with no traffic, you could hit that in 45 minutes.
Yeah, we made it there in 50-something minutes.
Okay. And we, over 2 hours coming back?
Oh, it was 3.
It was 2 hours and 40-something minutes to get back to the shop.
Oh, my gosh.
It was terrible.
All the traffic.
We reached the end of Instagram on the car ride home.
I do have to clarify, before I forget, I gotta clarify. I don't want to go to Indianapolis to get my ass kicked. So I want to clarify that was not a
not a shot at it.
There was not a shot.
Oh, no.
Because you're asking, like, it doesn't have the prominence for the level of sophistication and
correct.
stuff coming out
It's
of
all
it.
But it's always been that way.
It's not like Maranello or some of the
It's
foreign places.
it's the Le Mans of the U.S. Even if you look back in the 40s and 50s of even hot rodder guys running the Indianapolis 500 and Miller race cars and some of that stuff that was traditional hot rod, right? Even then, when they came from SoCal or whatever, they had driving suits on, right? They classed it up to a level that only Indy in the United States can demand, right? Daytona's kind of done their thing with, Rolex coming in and they try to, but let's face it, 364 days a year, it's Daytona, right? It's trash. Damn it. I'm making no friends anywhere. But, you know what I'm saying? Like even
I do.
When NASCAR was getting its roots on the beach, right? They didn't really like try to class it up, right? They were proud of who they were. And Indy always demanded like a little bit of like this is Indy, right?
Well, there's some prominence with Indy for sure,
which is wild
when it comes to racing.
Yeah,
because it's Indiana.
They have a way of doing it with Monterey.
I was gonna say you're doing a good job walking it back.
Yeah.
It's
all in the
you're
marketing,
good.
man. It's all in the marketing. There's a lot there. I mean, I was just in Indianapolis. The city's like thriving. A lot of cool stuff going on there. It's all in how you market it. If you would put if you could put CEOs and CFOs in place of mayors and governors, it'd probably be
it would be completely different, right?
A lot better.
Yeah, yeah. It's just it's wild how for that geographic location and everything else that's around in that area. Not saying bad. You're right. The level of prominence that has in surrounding area doesn't seem like it should be there.
Yeah, right. I've lived here I've lived here for 41 years, and I agree wholeheartedly. And I got your back, Josh. When you come here, you'll be fine, man. Good. So don't worry. Yeah, and it's become a tech hotspot too. Salesforce bought a company called ExactTarget, and I want to say that was around 2012. And ExactTarget was this hotbed, thriving tech firm that kind of had hockey stick growth, and Salesforce came in and bought it for like $2.5 billion and changed the entire landscape of Indianapolis. And private equity firms started popping up, and tech incubators started popping up, and you've got some really cool things about Indy going on right now. And it's it's been a concerted effort to stay here and have a career here and raise a family here. And, I jokingly say I couldn't afford the house I'm in anywhere else in the United States. The standard of living here is amazing. The schools are great. We do have 4 seasons, and the roads are kind of crap, and it's flat, and I can't run and go skiing, or take the boat out on a lake like the one you guys have access to. But, it's a good life. It's fun.
You mentioned coming from a marketing background and being CMO at a bunch of companies, and you're a brand builder. This is a 2-part question. The first, in those discussions that you had when you sent the text back, no thanks, and then you had a further discussion about, stepping in and taking the reins at PRI, how much of that marketing was in that conversation? And what is the brand of PRI, and what is the story you're trying to tell today?
Sure. No, great segue, great setup.
I practiced that one.
You did. Yeah, I could tell. That was rehearsed. No, I'll start it off another way. It was pretty clear. Like, I didn't want to. I don't know my predecessor that was here before me. I had been going to the PRI show for a number of years. I had reached a point in my career where I wasn't really looking to come in and wash, rinse, repeat what my predecessor had done. And it was pretty clear they were not wanting that. And so that was a heavy part of the attraction, was that I can come in here and be somewhat of a disruptive change agent and drive new ideas. And I think for trade shows in general, This is true. I think you guys just had Tom and Warren on.
That was last week. If you're listening right now, that was last week. We're gonna
last week. Trade shows, we have to. Here, I'll put it this way: somebody asked me. I had a microphone in my face, a camera at the 2024 PRI show, and they said, "Mike," and the camera's right up in my face, and they said, "How's the 2024 PRI show going?" I said, "It is great." I said, by all of the internal metrics that I had in my head about this show, it has checked every box, and it's the perfect show for 2024. And she said, "Well, what do you mean by that?" And I said, "Well, if we're doing this same exact show 2, 3, 4 years from now, we're probably missing the boat somewhere." And we're all old enough to remember that trade shows used to just be you swap business cards. Yeah, there were some nuances of cool things that happened, but for the most part, it was straight up just a business transactional event. Trade shows today have to have an experiential aspect to them. The world has such a short attention span. You've got to change how you engage. You have to reinvent how you engage. I mean, look at SEMA, who's role modeled it perfectly with, you go get in the drift car out in the parking lot, and then later that night you can go to a rock concert. And, they've created all these experiential elements that have increased and attracted different folks to come into and say, what's this all about? And how do I learn more? And I think that's the same with PRI and any trade show, regardless of industry, that you really are going to be challenged to do that. And so for us, we want to continue. I say we do 3 things. We connect, protect, and advocate. So the show is our connection point. It's where we bring the industry together. We bring manufacturers together with buyers. And we really, to me, PRI is the only place in the world where you get the entire ecosystem of motorsports in one place at one point in time. Whether it's tractor pull, karting, sprints, IMSA, open wheel, they're all there. Folks, you'll see Roger Penske and Richard Petty and the guy that is spending every penny he makes on his car in his barn that's worth $14,000. And they're all walking around with the same level of interest and intrigue. And there's no other venue that I've been to, motorsports related, that does that. And it's a humbling privilege and responsibility to make sure that continues to thrive. The show started in 1988, so we're a couple years out from our 40th anniversary, and we want to continue to reinvent it, and we're trying some new things. Even this year, we have some new elements coming into the show. And so much of the power of the PRI show, and I'm going to base a big assumption here that you guys have all been to this show.
Yeah,
I think you have, and that is the networking and the connectivity. A lot of the folks only see each other once a year, and it's at the PRI show. Yet their lives were more intersected 10 years ago in a career or something, and they get to reconnect every year at the PRI show. And so there's that connectivity of the relational connectivity, I'll call it. But then there's the business connectivity where you're getting to see the latest and greatest in innovations, new products, and how people are utilizing new products, how they're utilizing new methodologies for building or fabricating, that you can't really see it all in one place anywhere else. And I think that is such a powerful part of it. One of the bigger growing areas, it's called TOPS. It stands for Track Operators, Promoters, and Sanctions. And there's a gentleman named Tom Deary that oversees that for us, and it's a big part of our show, and it's a growth part of our show because I said there were 3 big initiatives. The first one I was talking about was Next Generation. The other 2 are tracks and sanctions. We needed to really get to understand. I've spent most of my time in this seat on the road talking to sanctioning bodies and talking to the track owners to truly understand what is it that John Doonan's doing at IMSA. What is it that Mike Cobb's doing at SCCA, Doug Bowles at IndyCar, fill in the blank, NTPA, National Tractor Pool, WRG, World Racing Group, Sprints. I don't want to leave anyone out, but there's a whole bunch. I've met with all these sanctioning bodies. We don't have our hand out asking for anything. It's really, let me understand your guys' growth strategies, because I feel if you look at it as a pyramid, it all starts up at the sanctioning bodies,
right,
and then everything trickles down, and then the tracks. That's where our people are. And so the initiative was to say, let's get a closer, deeper, more fruitful relationship with the sanctioning bodies so we can truly understand what their strategies are to grow, fill in the blank, EMSA, WRG, high limits. Then we can become an evangelist for that. Because we reach different folks than they do. So we help them expand their own brands, which helps rise all boats, rise all tides. And then at the track level, it's the same as what's going on at the tracks, because that's a whole other deeper conversation around a lot's going on at the tracks, because you've got roughly 1,260 tracks across the United States. We've lost some recently. And, so it's really understanding what's going on at these tracks so that we can help them continue to thrive. And a lot of times you're talking about tracks that are 40, 50, 60 years old, multi-generationally ran, and they are still, in many instances, maybe hand to mouth, meaning paycheck to paycheck, as far as they either thrive to survive type of thing. And if we can help understand what it is that's going on at these tracks, and we can help them put butts in seats, as I say so bluntly, that's going to help, again, get more people out to the tracks. And so there's a whole lot to it, but they've all been very welcoming.
I had no idea about Tops that you did anything with that, because that was I wanted to go into that deeper, because from our side of the industry, right, SEMA being our kind of our voice for most of our marketplace and our customer base.
Sure.
Short of, the entire SEMA show, the aftermarket that it represents, you've got a lot of different facets and genres, and you've got obviously some significant racing there. But by and large, these are street cars doing streetcar things, or off-road doing off-road. Short of the federal government or state and local governments kind of infringing upon our rights to do anything, all of these members, companies, enthusiasts, and parts can go on these vehicles. You can enjoy them whether you go to the local car show, whether it exists or it doesn't exist. You've got essentially the entire United States to go and do the car things that you want to do with these said products. At PRI and the performance racing segment of this thing, by and large, there's some street cars there. There's some, high horsepower street car stuff, but by and large, it's racing. And you have to do the thing that you're doing at a track or a sanctioning body. And if those tracks don't exist or those sanctioning bodies don't exist, then really the point of building that race car doesn't exist. So it's a completely different level of importance or lift from you guys at PRI that SEMA doesn't really have, is to make sure and help that. What are the challenges that those individual tracks or even the sanctioning bodies are dealing with that they need help with?
Oh my gosh, they run the gamut. So you take a track that's been, I'm not going to give any specific example because I guess there's several, but a track's been out in the middle of, out in the country away from the city, and it's been there for 40 years, and developers come in and they put in $1 million homes on 100 acres, a half a mile or 2 miles or a mile away. Once those homes get built, 2 years after those homes are built, there's now a nuisance, a noise ordinance lawsuit filed because the track is making so much noise 20 days a year or whatever, and they want the track shut down. Like those things are happening, and there's actually a motorsports nuisance protection bill in the works right now that's really trying to help protect racetracks and motorsports from, having some type of protection to say, look, we've been here for a long time. Let us continue to do what we do. We understand that you bought the house knowing that XYZ Speedway was
exactly,
a mile away.
We had Cletus on, and he talked about this. Do they have a leg to stand on with those? Or is it just they know the tracks probably can't afford to fight it?
Well, that's where we're trying to come in. SEMA, PRI. So Karen Bailey Chapman heads up our legislative governance side, and she does a tremendous job.
She was on as well. She was a great episode.
Oh yeah, she's great, man. She's very, very good, and she runs the DC team. That she's really the legislative voice for both PRI and SEMA, And so she's got her team, helping put something together that can tackle problems like this on an ongoing basis. And when we tackle this one, a new one's going to pop up. And that's, I said we connect, protect, and advocate. So it's you're kind of getting a little bit of a taste of each one of those because they mean a lot. We've got to continue. We can't just focus on one of those things. This protection side's a big deal, and it's about that. You've heard the saying. It's about the journey. You're never going to reach your destination.
Yeah.
Like there's never going to be a point where we could stop and say, okay, we could take our foot off the gas now. So
it's wild. I mean, I can't imagine that. I mean, if you bought a bunch of property and then you're like, all these trees are dropping leaves. This is bullshit.
Yeah, you can't see
what am I going to do about?
It's funny how it works when you do things like that, and that's a conscious decision. There's a racetrack there, and there's a plot of land, and it's inexpensive.
They're buying it cheap because
they're buying it cheap as just to your point, because there's already a racetrack there, and they're going to develop it to make an astronomical amount of money.
Yeah,
and
I don't even care about those guys. The people that bought the house.
Well, but the outcome is usually probably goes in the resident's favor, the homeowner's favor. Now, on the flip side of it, when you're an existing homeowner, I went through this years ago, had a house, there was a farm in the backyard, farm turned into a landfill just for dirt. By where we're at, the counties, they have this little game that they play where they'll get in bed with the developer or just an excavator, and they'll just allow them to waive every single right there is, and they just start piling dirt there, right? And as a result of it, then they deed the land back to the village.
Right.
Now, legally, you're fucked as a resident in that scenario. You didn't choose that. These guys, they chose that. It's just it's funny. The flip side of it, it's never protecting the right entity.
Well, I'll go even, developer buys the land, buys near a racetrack. Ultimately, it's not going to be his problem, right? Because, again, you're dealing with stupid people. They're going to buy a house there, not think anything about it until the first couple of races, and then they're going to all band together. Once an HOA is set, they're going to have one that's smart enough. We're going to put the money up. We're going to sue the racetrack. All right? So that happens. And they're doing it specifically over a noise and nuisance ordinance. How many people have ever bought a house next to a railroad tracks and got the railroad track shut down? Because it's the same noise, right? It's not a surprise. The trains, that's why I don't understand why people get hit by trains, because they don't sneak up on you, right? There's never been a train sneak up on anybody, right? You've done something stupid, right? So, when you're going to look at that house, the house might be beautiful. They might have not made any mention of it. When you're looking around the house, you see the railroad tracks. It's got to dawn on you, be like, man, maybe it's not that loud.
To push back on that, do you ever notice that every one of those developments, whether they're single-family homes, condos, trailer homes, they all start off as they're just bordering the railroad tracks. Right. And after several years, before you know it, there's multi-million-dollar fences that get put up by the county.
Yeah, you know what it doesn't do? Make the railroad quieter.
Yeah, but they complain.
That's right.
They complain
enough.
You bought it. You knew
100%.
They didn't put the railroad tracks through there.
They didn't sneak it up in the middle of the night. That thing's been there. But that's my point is, no matter how hard they complain, they're not going to move a railroad track, right? It's there. And it's the same thing. You knew that it was...
It's a necessity, though. A little bit of a necessity.
100% it's a necessity, but it's still, like you said, some of these racetracks have been 50, 60, 70 years. Minding their own business out, and then you've got, urban sprawl, and everybody kind of moves out, and you're like, oh, I'd like this piece of property there. I wonder if it's allowed there at the racetrack. Oh, no, it's fine. It's not that bad, right? They only race on never.
And then you have the
PRI side actually standing up for all of these looking at what the end user is going to be using the product for.
So important.
Fighting for the actual end user, fighting for the whole manufacturers.
Because if there's not a place to do it, then the shit doesn't need to exist.
Yep. I think it's a lot of people with SEMA and PRI, they just look at it like it's just one big show, but there's so much more that kind of stems from that.
The association is way more important than...
Show's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, on that one, we're trying to get immunity from nuisance claims. So the law would shield racetracks from lawsuits by surrounding property owners. And... we'll see what happens, but and then you have other elements too. you have urban sprawl, the words I think you just said, that, you take Irwindale, great track, Southern California. I think it was built around 1999, was a favorite, but
Yeah.
When a developer comes and offers you X, which is maybe generational wealth, you're going to flip it. And I don't know the story with Irwindale specifically, right. but those things happen too. And then the other thing, just to talk about racetracks, we're starting to see this resurgence of the thermal type track. So you have thermal, obviously, in SoCal. You have Flat Rock, just opened down in Tennessee.
Yeah, beautiful track. What they're doing there is wild.
Really?
Flat Rock, yeah. It's stunning. And and there's talk about Willow Springs is doing some changing. So there's a lot going on as far as PRI's role in it. We just want to have our ear to the ground, so we understand what's going on. And then we have Karen and her team can be the proper voice at the proper time with the proper message. And that's what her team's so good at doing. And, so it's really understanding that. And I mentioned Tom Deary earlier that oversees. So Tom's from Rockford. His family owned Rockford Speedway.
Oh, wow.
You guys are all Chicago guys. So you've probably heard of that Speedway. Closed a few years back, but that was ran by the Deary family. His father, Hugh Deary, who I never met. He had passed many, many years ago, but, was one of the most world-renowned Hall of Fame track promoters, and for what he did at Rockford back in the, 60s and 70s and 80s. And so that was another one, though. Development came in, urban sprawl.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going there now, but it's no longer a racetrack.
Right. Rundown factory.
They don't put in rundown factories.
Over time. Have you been to Rockford?
I have. Yeah, those
are all rundown factories.
Yeah.
I think even the new ones are rundown in Rockford.
A lot of housing going out there. Rockford's very affordable.
So many friends this episode.
Oh, I can't go out. Yeah. I can't go out anymore. I want to ask. So
you're going to need Ryan Fielding as security for you when you leave.
Yeah, but maybe like Ryan a year ago.
Yeah,
he's not that big.
There's another one.
Even my protection, I've pissed off. I don't know any other way. Last week, Tom sat here, Warren sat there. Tom sat right here and looked us in our face and said, SEMA is not a car show. What say you about PRI?
I think PRI it's I keep going to the word ecosystem, not to, for lack of not being able to come up with a better word. It's the culmination of bringing the ecosystem of an industry together. The cars are the eye candy of the event. They are the shock and awe factor of the event. But I could push to say that if we had a section of the show, a floor, an area of the convention center that had no cars, it would still be packed with people. That they would still be there to talk and connect and understand what's going on in each other's businesses, or in whatever part of their business that they're in, whether it's at the track level, the sanction level, the race team, a driver, a young generational piece. We have a student breakfast this year. We have one every year, but we're evolving that, and now having a track for students to go on after that student breakfast. There's like 2 sessions they can go to, and then they can go to a student luncheon that'll have CEOs at it. One of those tracks is a panel of a bunch of business leaders sitting there on stage, and let's say I'm the moderator. I'll say, okay, Jeremy, you've got 87 college kids sitting out here right now thinking about their next chapter of their career. Tell me the top 3 things you think about when you're hiring new talent. And I ask you that question, and you share that with them, and you're like, I want somebody that's curious. I want a curious mind. I want somebody with a solid work ethic, whatever your answers are. But for them to hear that from people that are experts or leaders in the industry that they want to get into, it's really valuable, and you're helping them shape that. So again, long-winded answer with some rabbit holes to it, to your question around what is PRI, but I say it's the connector of the ecosystem. Like we bring together all facets of motorsports. The manufacturers are kind of our North Star, And what I mean by that is we bring, I don't know, let's call it 1,100 manufacturers into a room, meaning the show, and they're paying to be there. And they're paying to be there to help them do one thing, grow their business. Same reason you guys make a significant investment at SEMA every year. You're trying to grow your business. And I have to nail that. Because if I screw that up, I think we're on our way to irrelevancy. So there has to be this job one is to get the manufacturers in a building, bring the people that want to buy those parts into that building, and help them grow their businesses. And then there's a bunch of other stuff I got to do right. The educational factor, the entertainment factor, all the different connective points, connective tissue. But, at the end of the day, we're helping an industry grow. We're helping an industry try to thrive. And regardless of what's going on in DC, regardless of what's going on in the political climate or the stock market, we've all been exhibiting when red was in office, when blue was in office, when the economy was tanking and taking a shit, or when it was on a growth. We've all been representing our company, standing in a booth, and all of those elements trying to grow. And so, we want to create a place where that can happen. And we want to help continue to get the industry to thrive. So that's kind of my benchmark is at the end of the PRI show is for people to walk out of there and say, okay, the industry's in a better place than it was 5 days ago because this event occurred, because we were able to talk to these folks and talk about these products and these new innovations.
Piggybacking off of your statement of, first and foremost, the North Star is the manufacturers and making sure they grow their business. Has there been discussions about playing with some of SEMA's methodology on opening it up to the general public on some certain days? Traditionally, you're a trade-only show. You're still a trade-only show, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
We are.
And if those discussions have happened, what is the temperature of the people having those discussions on that topic?
We've talked about it, and there's no crystal ball to say that we're going to start doing that in 2028 or at a given point in time. Our show's 3 days. I'd love to see us add a day on the front end and have the show start on Wednesday, because to open up a 3-day event to the public for even one day. If it's detrimental to that audience that I said is our North Star, that's going to be hard to come back from. And, so I would say, and I'm not trying to give you a safe answer. I'm just speaking off the cuff here. I think we need more data. I think I need to truly understand, I have advisory boards and I spend a lot of time talking to customers, and I want to talk to the customers that are pissed about something, because I can try to fix that or at least see if it's fixable. Understand that. And I don't know though. I would say never for sure. I think where the industry is going has a consumer piece to it that needs to be given proper attention. And it's not being given that attention under the PRI umbrella today. All of the companies that are out there at our show are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. It could be a $10 million company. They're spending a significant amount of their budget on digital marketing, on putting ad campaigns together, on working with influencers.
Right.
That is to attract, so Dynamat, we were a dealer distributor network. If somebody called Dynamat and said, I want to buy your product, I sent them to summit.com or JEGS or one of our dealers, our distributors. But I was also spending a ton of money working with
branding and trying to build a brand. And
Chris Jacobs and, and not that Chris is great. Working with partners to build the brand. And so it's a delicate balance. I've had many customers tell me, don't even think about it.
I was going to say, reading between the lines, there's been discussions and there's been some exhibitors that said a hard no. I've put everything together that I need to
I also think it's because we, PRI, have not put maybe the best way to present that out to them. So I would say the onus is on us, not on the attendees of our show to figure that out.
Yeah. 3 days. 3 days makes it difficult.
How much emphasis do you guys put on the social media side to reach the end customer that way through social media? They might not be able to see it firsthand, but you have all these influencers and social media channels at the show. Are you guys doing anything to help them, to promote it, to get it out further?
Sure. We do a ton at the show. I mean, we had a podcast studio at the show where people were doing live conversations, and then our social media.
The invite got lost in the mail for that
one. Yeah, point taken. I love the subtleness of that.
Very subtle.
But no, that's actually a good point. I think so. We do a lot on our own promoting of our business members,
right?
Of promoting their businesses, say, look at this new camshaft or whatever the product is. So we're helping. Like I look at PRI as our job is to help our members grow their businesses. For us to do that kind of brings the whole industry up. And the show is one way in which we do that. We also do that through our marketing elements, whether that's through digital or whether that's through, maybe coming out with a PRI podcast where we sit here and we have our business members on here to talk about their new camshaft,
right,
to use an earlier example. Those are all things that are being explored. As far as, the show going from B2B trade only to a B2C element, it's a TBD. I would love to sit here
and slippery slope.
That's a lot of acronyms.
It really is. Yeah, there was a lot of acronyms.
That's an easier decision when you're in Las Vegas. I'm born and raised in the Midwest. I've been here my entire life. I can tell you right now, you don't open that show up to just. You just don't open it up, dude.
I would like you to expand.
I'm not going to go into detail, but what I would say is that anybody that's going there that really wants to be there, there's a means of getting into the show. Right?
There should be a racer or a deal. There's a builder. There's.
And if you were to just kind of willy-nilly open it up to just open the gate.
Do you realize how many more 1320 sweatshirts there'd be there if they did open it to the gate?
It would be a mess.
We'll
just leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. This is not meant to be a I don't know. I'm just going to ask the question. We never got a chance to talk with Warren and Tom about this, but talking about the experience, right, for the exhibitors and the buyers. You mentioned you didn't want to hinder the experience of the North Star, the most important one, especially on a 3-day show. Short of ADA compliance, what can be done with the scooters?
Is it a problem for you?
Well, it definitely hinders the experience.
Yeah,
because let's all face it, that is abused.
Oh, it's abused. It's absolutely abused.
Yeah, there are definitely. It's a difficult balance. It's just where we are right now from a regulatory perspective.
Yeah.
If you raise your hand and say I need to be on a scooter, you're going to be on a scooter, and you don't really have to. It's a little different than parking in a handicap spot. You got to have a legit. Statement.
Why is that? Because we've all flown. We've all been in the airport.
Dude,
we see exactly who's getting pushed to the.
For you, from experience, it would be way, way, way worse for you to be on a scooter than off a scooter.
No, these are sit-down scooters we're talking about.
It doesn't matter, but
it's sit-down's different. Sit-down's different.
He'd still crash a sit-down scooter.
I will say,
I could smoke and navigate on the sit-down.
I've heard a lot in my time here. I've met with hundreds and hundreds of customers, and I'm not saying this to refute your statement, so don't take it that way.
I get it,
but I've heard it come up maybe once.
Okay.
I've heard Some people had dogs with them that were there because of
Yeah.
they had a reason to have that dog with them. And I've seen one or two complaints about that, and one or two complaints about the scooters. And the other complaint that I did hear about the scooter was at the show. Somebody was almost ran over by somebody, and they were pissed, and it was warranted.
A service dog, like, as long as it doesn't bite my face off, I don't have a problem with the service dog. The SEMA, I guess SEMA's probably more to blame, but you got.
When you're talking about dogs and PRI, I
just saw his face light up.
Yeah, I know, but this is different.
Okay.
SEMA probably is more to blame because we've all been there, and I get it. Like, you got to do what you got to do if somebody raises their hand. Yeah. We've all seen the train of like 6 guys that all were like, you know what, let's get scooters. We don't have to walk, right? Yeah. And they're right. running in a row, and they're taking posters, and they're banging into stuff like that. And it's so difficult and annoying when it's
a good guy show, it's a SEMA show, it's a PRI show.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. Yeah. If you can't park in the space, then why should you be able to get a device?
That's an element we're just, it's just where we are right now.
Where you are.
Yeah.
We can cut all this out. I mean, I get it. It's a sticky subject. I just wanted to know if somebody was going to, I wanted to ask Tom and Warren too, if they're going to be like, you know what? Yeah, fuck those scooters. We need to get rid of this thing.
I'd be curious what Tom's answer would be on that. I've never talked about it with him.
I mean, hell, let's face it. I mean, SEMA might be getting revenue off of it. So they probably.
I wouldn't think that. I don't think that.
I'm just giving it a shot. So you're building. Good grief, I got caught up. You talk about building the brand. You talk about what PRI is. What is new and upcoming for PRI now? It's just right around the corner. For whatever reason, we laugh about this. SEMA's over, and every single year it's always like PRI is the first of the year. And it's not. It's the end of this year. Right. It's not the first of next year. It's the end
December
of this
11th.
Yeah.
It comes fast.
What's new? And this is absolutely a segue into you talking about like the big, huge party that y'all are doing, like the kickoff party. That's why I wore this shirt.
Yeah. It's 87 days from today.
It is.
And in between now and 87 days from now, we will have all lived through SEMA. And so it's kind of crazy how fast all that's going to fly.
Tried to.
Yeah, or tried to live through SEMA.
If we don't know that for sure.
I'm out at SEMA for 8 days every year. How long are you guys out there? About
Usually
the same?
About 10.
Yeah.
8 to 10.
He's about 9 more than we would like to be.
Yeah. It's funny, and I'm sure you guys would agree with this, but for those that aren't in the industry, your friends and neighbors, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you get to go to SEMA."
Punch him in the face.
Punch 8
him
days.
Straight in the face.
and I'm like, man, you don't get it. That's like 8 days in Vegas is like 2 months anywhere else in the world. Like that, other than your home.
Right.
You just want to be home, and it's a long day.
I could have walked to Vegas and back and had more fun and been less tired.
Probably similar mileage.
Similar.
It's a lot.
PRI, there was when you come in and you come into a leadership role in a new company, a lot of times you are coming in with, you got your eyes open big, and you're looking for everything that needs fixed. And with PRI, it was a true blessing. I'll use my Indiana roots. It was a little bit like I came in when Peyton Manning was the quarterback, and I got asked to coach the Colts or whatever. And it's like, this is amazing. The team, unbelievable. The show team, which, as a side note, the PRI show behind the scenes, the actual day-to-day launch logistics is almost 95% done by women on the PRI team. And the Karen Davidson and Erica and Nicole, Michelle, these ladies are the consummate professionals and at the top of their game in what they do. It's pretty cool.
I feel like that side goes completely unnoticed when it goes well, but when it doesn't go well,
they have to deal with the shit.
Bad.
Yeah, probably, so, but I will say
they don't get the credit they deserve, I guess, for putting on a good show and just everything going off without a hitch.
We try to make sure they get the credit, and they've got a track record of putting off a really good show. And this year it was a little bit of saying, okay, what can we do? One of the things I was kind of focused on is like, how do we get back to our roots? When Steve Lewis created this, it had this intimacy to it, and you don't want to lose that special sauce, that special ingredient that PRI's always had. And a little bit of that was what I said earlier around the power of the networking and the connectivity of the show. And a lot of people, they look forward to the PRI show because they get to see Joe and Johnny and Jenny at a booth, and then they get to go to St. Elmo's and have some cocktails and a shrimp cocktail. And so one of the things we were like, okay, let's give time back. And we had something going every night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night. We rolled it all into one big event called the Full Throttle Social on Thursday night. So we don't have any events on Wednesday night like we used to have. We used to have a happy hour. And we're creating one big event in Lucas Oil that, one, we're changing up that event and the landscape of that actual event. It'll be really cool, and I hope you guys can make it there. It's Thursday night.
It's presented by
100% presented by Automotive.
Presented by Automotive, right?
Yeah, that is correct. Thank you for that. I don't know if it'll live up to a Roadster Shop Party in Vegas, but
there's only one way. There's only one way to figure that
out. But no, we're super excited about that, and a special thanks to Automotive for your sponsorship on that. It's not taken for granted by any stretch, because you guys are taking a risk on something new that you're going into an unknown with us, and that's deeply appreciated. We're hoping we'll exceed your expectations with it.
You said there'd be monster trucks and fire, so
right. Is that what Selena said?
Yeah, she did.
Okay, note to self: call Selena.
Knew how to get you sold.
Yeah,
right.
I take it you've been to a Roadster Shop Party in Vegas then. By that.
I had an interesting. I went into one. This would have been 22 years ago.
And you were like, "This is not for me."
No. I had a coworker had an emergency, and I was there for half an hour and had to leave.
Oh, well.
And so they were having a health medical reaction, and so I had to. They weren't at the party; they were at the hotel, and I had to go take care of them. So I had 30 minutes at one of your parties, but.
Well, we appreciate you coming.
Well, breaking news. You can come this year.
Yeah. Hopefully, I can make it back there this year. But so we have that Full Throttle Social going on. We're really excited about that. We do have this. So last year, I don't know if you were at the grand opening breakfast. We rolled out and launched our Hall of Fame with inductees. Number 1 and 2 were Steve Lewis and Ed Eskandarian. And this year we just formalized our Hall of Fame. We have 3 inductees going in this year. TBD, can't release those just yet, but super excited about that. There's a lot of things going on. When you walk in to PRI off of Capitol, there was a hanging car every year. Last year it was the number 7 Penske IMSA car hanging upside down. Behind that was a podcast studio, which was cool. And don't take this the wrong way, being what you guys are doing right now. It was a fishbowl.
Yeah.
The people there could not engage with what was going on the other side of that glass. It was just something to look through the glass and see, because the audio wasn't properly piped in, and they couldn't, even if it was, they couldn't really hear a full conversation like what we're having right now. So we're parked that, and we've put one of the last key points I wanted to bring up. I don't know how much time we have.
Dude, we went forever. Just keep going.
Okay. Is really the diversity of the show. So when you walk into the show, if you just go down one aisle, you might think this is a drag racing NHRA show, or this is a dirt track show. But we really represent everything from sims and go-karts to trophy trucks and open wheel and IMSA and the full breadth of motorsports. And so when you walk in under that hanging vehicle, which also is TBD what we're going to put there, it's going to be flanked. There's going to be a big stage with, I think it's a trophy truck, a drift car, an SCCA, and then there's going to be a sprint, and I forget, SVRA. Cars are going to be lined up there with a stage in front. A gentleman named Ken Stout. I don't know if you know Ken, great broadcaster. Does a lot with the Crandon off-road, has a son, Robert, that's also an off-road racer, lives in Brownsburg, dear friend of mine. He's going to be the voice on stage, so to speak. We'll be conducting interviews, but he's also going to be out walking around in the crowd with a microphone and saying, Jeremy, I see you're from Timbuktu, Illinois. How long? What PRI show is this for you? What brings you here? And just engaging with the crowd and getting their feedback and engaging with the attendees and having a more I'll call it intimate experience instead of just being this thing on the other side of the glass. And so, it was around making that kind of relational connection, I'll call it, with the people that are there, spending their time, money, and effort to come to Indianapolis in December. We wanted to kind of call that out. And so those are a few of the elements that are going on that's new. We're looking at another element in another place closer to the west end. That would be, have you guys ever been to King of the Hammers?
We never have.
We have not. We've talked about it all the time.
It's definitely on our radar.
That and Bonnaroo. Like it's
yes,
it's both like on the same level.
So King of the Hammers is in Johnson Valley, California. I want to say about an hour north of Palm Springs. It's a dried up river or lake bed, and they literally built a town of 85,000 people in the middle of nowhere. You got to go 20 minutes in any direction to get a bottle of water. It's unbelievable. I just went for the first time, and it's every January, late January, early February timeframe. You should go check it out. It's kind of like a Mardi Gras or a Indianapolis 500. Yep. Go at least once. Get a VRBO in the desert and go check it out. But being that, you have Crandon, you have the Baja 1000, you have all these off-road different elements of truck racing. We really wanted to increase the presence of that at the show, and we're actually working on a section in the show that would potentially be called Hammertown, and it's going to be an off-road segment of the show. So that's something also that'll be new. And it really, it's, whether it's drift, whether it's trophy trucks, karting, we want to continue to branch out. And obviously another big growth area is the sims.
It's gotten wild.
It's crazy. They just had the Sim Expo in Chicago a few weeks back. But that went from 2 years ago, the Sim Arena in Lucas Oil Stadium was 8,000 square feet. Last year it was 43,000 square feet. And it's continuing to just evolve. And when you get back to that NextGen initiative of, our generation, a lot of us maybe had the good fortune, if we weren't on bikes, to come in maybe through karting to get into what it's like to drive four wheels before you're 16. And this is another avenue. That's how I see it. It's another avenue that maybe Junior's parents don't want him or her racing a car, don't have any interest in it, but he or she can save their money and for a pretty low price, put a sim in their basement and start putzing around on it with their Xbox. And that has really created this whole other industry. And interestingly enough, a lot of people are like, well, how's that really helping your manufacturers? Sparco, MPI, Max Pappas steering wheels, all these companies are wicked smart. And Max Pappas makes steering wheels for sims. Sparco, they have seats for sims. And so they're finding, hats off to them, they're finding new revenue generators to expand and diversify their own line of business to evolve with the motorsports industry.
And then when a guy gets a ride, he's going to be like, I got to have an MPI seat in this thing, or I have a Sparco. That's what I'm used to. On the sim thing, do you think that is going to always be a proving grounds or, a way to get noticed, a training? Or do you ever see that being a spectator sport?
I think it'll be a spectator sport within the sport, meaning those that do it would watch it. So we have there's actually a sim race the week of PRI called the Hoosier 500. It's put on by some guys in Indianapolis. PRI is helping promote it, and it's guys sitting on their sims all over the world in a race on the Indianapolis 500, a live race that they'll do on their sims, and the winner gets some beautiful, crazy watch. Like, it's a thing. And But I look at sim as it's a couple things. It's a gateway to real motorsports, at least to learn and understand. There is a talent development aspect to it that I think could play a role. But I also think the technology and the industry innovation is really cool. When you look at what some of these things are doing now, as far as the mobility of them and how they maneuver like a real car,
Right.
or pretty close to a real car. And I think they're opening up a whole other arena of eyes that might not have ever seen motorsports. And then those folks, as they age and go from 12 to 22, they can decide if that's something that they want to learn more about and go into and educate themselves on. So, there's the accessibility of it is what's cool. Your 12-year-old son, you give him $800 to build a sim, he can go online and race against a guy that's got $100,000 sim sitting next to his Ferrari in his garage, and they're equal
Right.
like in that playground. And so it's pretty neat. Where it's going to go as far as a spectator sport, I have no idea. I think we've all been surprised on what people watch online. So,
My kid spends hours watching somebody else play Roblox when he's got the game right there.
Yeah.
Right. And so, it's
Good.
Who knows,
That was
man?
I
good.
got you.
You realize that's how young he thinks I am. I got a 12-year-old son. Just letting you know that. That's what I
think
portray.
that was just like a broad generalization.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
He pointed
definitely
at me.
broad.
That's
He
like
pointed
that's like a middle of the road when you say like a kid. That's like a kid.
It's
It's
kid age.
it's kid age.
I hate you.
I want to go back to something that you touched on and I think kind of may have brushed over or overlooked at the huge benefit, I think, to the show is the diversity and having all these different brands and different groups of racing. I know for us, the main reason we go is just to be able to sample like what's going on in the off-road, in the drag race, in the open wheel, in the, circle track world, and meet some of these vendors that we probably would have no other access to, see what they're doing, and then it opens up a whole new world of products that we can then work with and make our current product line better. I got to imagine for the rest of the racing world, it's the same, that, they're finding new markets to be in, for existing companies, or companies are finding other companies to work with and develop product in conjunction with. There's got to be a huge advantage for the industry just being able to kind of be tossed into that big fish bowl and get exposure to all different areas of motorsports.
100%. If I glossed over that, it was not intentional. That is a massive positive attribute of the show for sure. We have it's called FPS, Featured Product Showcase, and that's where people can, showcase in a different part of the show out on the main walkway, what their latest and greatest is, and people get to vote on them. And when you walk through there, and I have walked through there with guys like you, with manufacturers in the show, and they're like, "Holy shit, look at this!" And they're totally blown away by what they're seeing and the specs on it, and they then want to go over and find that booth and talk more to those folks about what they're seeing there. And the innovation side of PRI is hands down, I think, the sexiest part of the whole thing. If you had to say what part of PRI is sexy, it's that. It's that you're getting to see what racing next year is going to be doing that it's not doing today in some form or fashion, and you're getting to see it kind of a preamble to it and an introduction to it, and I just think that's awesome. And I think one of the areas where we're going to really start to shine a light on is around safety. So you go back to the Hans device and all of that, and when all that evolved, but that's another element that continues to become more pervasive, which safety, we all think about it. You might not think about it necessarily in the design of your products. I know I didn't necessarily think about it in the design of Dynamat, but that's something that also has a whole other element to what's going on at the show. And that's a kind of a subset of new product innovation. But I think that's another area that's people are really getting honed in on, because I just hear a lot of folks talking about it. That's a really good point that you brought up, for sure.
What other areas are you seeing that are like the up and comers or the new exciting area of racing that?
I think
donk racing, for sure.
on 26s.
Yeah, try to do it. See, hard.
I think everyone's intrigued by AI and how that's going to play a role in design. That's a little bit in its infancy in some ways. We're learning something new about it every week. So that's going to continue to, I think, to be a disruptor, for lack of a better word.
Isn't it a thing that people just say, though? I think that AI is something that is talked about like government contracts were 10 years ago. Like it's somebody, everyone always had to say, well, someone's got a government contract. And it doesn't really mean anything. It just means like...
Have you tried troubleshooting any issues through AI?
I understand that we've used AI. I know that I'm saying general statement in this industry.
General technician.
You run into people all the time. It's just like, well, with AI. Well, no, tell me more about AI.
You're showing your age. You're showing your age.
I'm not saying it's not a thing. I'm just saying that it gets
Facebook and the interwebs.
It gets brought up all of the time in this industry, and then you pin somebody on like, what are you doing with it for product development, for market research, or anything like that. And it's just like, well, I mean, AI can do
That's kind of how 3D printing was, though. When it first came out, everyone talked about it, and nobody saw anything. And now you see 3D printing actually turn into real life
100%.
Manufacturing every day. And I think with AI, it's a little bit like that. And actually, you're seeing AI improve what's going on in the 3D printing world. So all these technologies are complementary to one another. And for us, I'm Gen X. Let's just assume we're I don't know.
Yeah, we're close.
So, you guys are, I think, a little younger, but for me, it's a little bit of like, okay, that we're in our wild, wild west of this a little bit. It's similar to EV racing or autonomous racing is another thing. That's a thing right now where people are doing autonomous racing. In IndyCar, where there is a car going around the track with nobody in it, but it's being driven through autonomous technologies.
Exciting.
What future does that have? No idea. And is there a generation out there that's going to be really attracted to that? Time will tell. And it's, you can talk about EV racing where you just hear the hum go around. And, we're high horsepower, want to hear the cam lob, but these things are all kind of being experimented with right now in the motorsports industry. And if you think about motorsports as the tip of the spear of what happens on the consumer side, which is a lot of really what happens, when you think about what all has happened in the consumer car that was derived from motorsports, whether it's ABS or disc brakes or seat belts, whatever, list goes on, it'll be interesting to see how all of these technologies shape what ultimately is a car that you're building a new roadster shop chassis for 10 years from now. Then it's a car we can't even think about today.
It's going to be interesting, man. I mean, for you, I would suggest you get on. There's an app. Download the app. It's called Chat GPT.
Here we go.
And just type in. I want you to type in.
There's a couple things I'm going to type in.
All right.
I already know a few things I'm going to type in.
For starters, type in when can I watch a rerun of Cheers or Sanford and Sons, and where can I see it on the 257 or 9?
No problem. I'll take all those jokes all you want.
Then it'll tell you when and where you can watch it, and you'll start realizing it's like it's really in tune.
So it's just giving you somebody else's answer faster.
It's a digital TV guide.
So it's just a better Google, because everybody else has already done the work. It's just finding it quicker.
Well, yeah, it's not.
So tell me what it's doing besides that, besides finding it faster.
Well, have you ever tried going to the second page of Google, a Google search?
I have.
And in the past 10 years, it's useless.
It is.
Trying to actually Google search something on any search engine.
Correct.
At this point,
so Chat GPT is a better Google search.
It will dive into the vast thing that is called the internet.
Right, and find the answer
but it can
that somebody else, that some other human came up with, and it found it and gave it to you.
Of course,
right. All right.
I mean, it can use its logic to,
it's to what?
To lean into that and expand.
Or to overtake the world. It could use its logic to overtake the world.
Let's just stop and go on to the next topic.
It can absolutely use its logic to take over the world. That's because it's already sentient.
Are you an opponent of it, or are you pro?
Well, what do you mean by that? I know that it exists.
Right.
I have used it for things. I wish it didn't exist.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
100%.
feel like it's
There's gonna be a day that
Right.
you're like,
So
I wish it didn't exist
I would
either.
wish it didn't exist as much as I wish social media doesn't exist, but it exists, and so
Right.
this is the world that we're in. But it does. It's
I agree.
shocking what it.
well,
what it
it's
could do to your
teaching
daily
people
life.
how to live their life without having to think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I can't
So
imagine.
That's kind of what I struggle with.
Ask ChatGPT if that's a good thing. I would have to imagine it would be honest and say no, it's not. You guys are over. You became
Having 2 kids in college right now, it's a big deal at the university levels. They said, Dad, we've seen people get expelled for using ChatGPT to write a paper, like booted out, like not a you didn't fail the class, like
You're done.
you got kicked out of college.
Yeah, oh, certainly.
So it's pretty interesting.
I will say the business that I'm not that I could make this a business. What I'm most intrigued about is they haven't really coined the correct term, but the SEO around ChatGPT and making sure that AI always lists your business as the recommendation for all of the things. That's what's intriguing because that exists as well.
To how to capitalize on that.
Yeah, because it's being capitalized on right now.
Yeah. You can buy your place in line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Just like buying a domain name.
I understand that. So it's just a faster Google. If everybody would just say that, it's like it's a better search engine.
So can I? You guys have been very, very gracious hosts. Can I ask you guys? You're in my shoes. You get to decide what to do with the PRI show. You've been to it. You understand it. You've been to SEMA. You understand it. What would you think? What do you think is missing, or what would you like to see at PRI that maybe you're like, why don't they think of that? Does anything come to mind? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
My answer would be the same as what we talked about in depth with SEMA. Is I would have to. I'm not in that industry near as much as we are in this industry. I would have to imagine about how difficult it is for builders of any size, of any age, to get a vehicle on the floor at PRI and showcase their capabilities in a manufacturer's booth. And because of, we talked about it, because of booth contractions and roll-ups and private equity and the amount of booth space and the amount of new companies, the amount of vehicles, speaking to SEMA, amount of vehicles that were there are not there anymore, and it's becoming way more difficult to get. I know how important it has been for our careers to bust your ass and get a vehicle there to show your business card on the biggest stage, with the help of a great manufacturer that took a chance on you and the doors that's opened. So that whatever could be done to make sure that there was more of those people showcased and give them that stage would be my answer. I don't have the actual blueprint on what that looks like, but I think that's very important.
Agree.
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, I'll start by saying it's a fantastic show. It's the show that I go to every year for the sake of focusing on like product development and getting in tune with new products and what's happening in the industry, things that I can use, things to like better us, better our product. The thing I would say is like usually, I can knock that show out in maybe half a day. Whereas SEMA, I feel like it takes me. I don't usually get the opportunity. I get so pulled in so many different directions.
You can't walk it. Like
I have a real hard time seeing it. But I would say, like, what's the draw? What keeps me engaged there? What keeps a enthusiast or a consumer engaged there? And maybe it's like like the workshops and things like that, where you're getting you've got so many entrepreneurs and influential people there. That aspect of trying to take those people and have them, giving seminars or interacting with each other, it always seems either so forced or not engaging, like
not organic.
Exactly, right? Like how can you take that and make it something where you can bring in, some younger guys or some people who would be influenced by that and actually take something out of it rather than they feel like they're just being like force fed.
Well, the speakers need to be a little more honest too.
Yeah,
That's
maybe.
the biggest problem is you get, and I get it. You got 80, 90 people there. You're promote. The only reason you're up there is promoting your brand. So you're going to toe that company line. You're going to say things a certain way, but a little bit more authenticity and honesty about.
Yeah, I just feel
reality.
I'm deterred from those. Like, I don't participate in a lot of those things just because I'm so used to them being just
Read
sort
from
of
a script.
Yeah, sort of the way they are.
Yeah.
Rather than like sitting there and listen to a guy who I admire. It just speaking like a normal human being. I think it would be very influential, very helpful, and probably a big draw.
Yeah,
that's what.
That's good. That's really good.
I'd say for me, double-edged sword, but
more double-edged swords.
No.
That sounds like a great idea.
We only have a katana up there.
It's a single-edged.
Getting in front of the end consumer more, because I feel like all of the manufacturers, that's like their Super Bowl, and they go to there's such an effort put in to get ready for the show and get the new products done and get them out there. And then on one hand, I see not being able to open it to absolutely the general public, but at the same time, like, you need to get your product in front of your end using consumer in order to then generate sales for the distributors and the jobbers to sell it. So a lot of the companies in our industry, I feel like, are on the smaller side, maybe don't have a tremendous marketing budget or the marketing staff to help get that out there. I think all the SEMA and PRI both do a phenomenal job of getting everybody in the building, but then getting what's in the building out to the rest of the community.
It's good.
I think would be huge.
Sure. No, that's a good takeaway.
That's where you're driving dollars.
Right. On the PRI side, I'll stay on PRI, not SEMA.
Yeah, I apologize.
No, you're good. Keep in mind, I came from the SEMA universe, so I totally get that. On the PRI side, it's interesting because the racers, the race teams, the race engineers, they're at the show. So the guys buying the supercharger or the brakes or whatever it is, whatever the widget is, they're there. But the grassroots racer is there. That was really the foundation of PRI. And that was a little bit of one of the things I heard when I first got here from a customer. He said, you got to get the tire kickers out of the show. And he said, we want buyers on the floor. And I said, okay. And so I started investigating that, and I'm like, okay, let's make sure we tighten down that Phil at dentistry.com doesn't get a pass to the show because he's a dentist. But if Phil at dentistry.com, I'm using my stupid analogy here, so bear with me, also is a weekend racer and shows his racing license and his racing credentials, then he can come to the show. They go through a vetting process. We've kind of tightened that up. And so I share that to say, to Jeremy's point, we've actually gotten more restricted on who gets in because we want to make sure it's the buyer and that it's not the dentist that, does that make sense?
Yeah, I get.
Because we really want to make sure that the buyers are who's in the building.
Let's be honest. The dentist, he's got a 911, and he's reading grassroots motorsports magazine.
Right.
He's the motorsports guy, but he's not going to.
I guess. Yeah, I'm saying more. There's such
stupid analogy.
There's such an opportunity of like every manufacturer putting their best foot forward at the show to get in front of the people that are in the building. If there was a way to then spread that out through the social media or
for them,
more of a much larger audience.
Yeah,
it might cut down on the tire kickers that are coming to see a few things.
The tire kicker thing pisses me off because we've all done shows for so long. We've all come back from shows. We've all talked to our sales guys. We've talked to other vendors. We're talking about, today was a good show. Later on this afternoon, it was a bunch of tire kickers. At the end of the day, be happy they came around to kick your fucking tires. Because if they didn't, then that means you're dying, right? Those guys might all... I think that the age limit I'm gonna cut this short because I know that the age limit really cleans things up, because coming from some Good Guys shows, coming from some other shows, there's those afternoons when those tire kickers are coming to look at cars and show their kids, right? It's an event. Right. It's just something to come to do. Yeah. They're not aspiring to buy that next thing. It's a carnival, right? And that's gate. If you take the kid side of it, you take the under 18 out of it, then any adult that's coming there, even though he's maybe just a quote unquote tire kicker, he's an enthusiast enough to come there, and your brand may or may not have an impact on him in a positive or negative way, even if he came by and kicked your tires and it didn't cost you anything else. Let's face it, anybody that has a line of people to speak to anybody at the thing, then you need to bring more people to the booth. You got that big of a brand, you need to staff more people. But if you spent 5 minutes with that tire kicker, right, and in 3 years from now, he remembers that experience and he is in a financial situation, or he does go to start racing. I don't know. I can't stand that tire kicking thing, because I kicked a shit ton of tires back in the day. I kicked a shit ton of tires on stuff that now, and even years after that, I was able to get.
Well, actually, I shared with that gentleman that said that. I said, the tire kicker today is the future buyer tomorrow, most likely.
Yeah.
To your point, and that does play out for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've had this discussion so many times. We all are guilty of it. You work in a trade show, work in any show. It's a difficult. It's an ass kicker, right? It's a time.
It's tough.
And if your only measure is the exchange of money for goods, right? Then there's times that you're going to come back and be like, "Oh, there's a bunch of tire kickers in this." If your measure is the success of your business over the long term, it's a different way of looking at things. Building a brand is important, right? Having somebody that you already did your job if he came by and was stopped at your booth to kick any tires. You know what I'm saying? It's not like there's just a line of random tires and he's just kicking the shit out of tires. He came by your booth to for whatever reason.
Yeah.
You did something right.
Yep. You're right. Yeah.
The other answers could have been like, Mike, you're doing such a great job. You and your staff are doing a PRI. We have no options for anything that you do. We couldn't even suggest anything that you could do any better.
Well, we generally complimented you that it's a great show.
It is a great show.
No, I appreciate that.
There's always something. I would love for somebody like, I mean, I've really enjoyed the conversation with you. You're a very sharp guy, and I'd love for you to come by like the Roadster Shop, and I would love to hear feedback from somebody in your position to say like, or come by our booth and give us the feedback. And you know what? I think you guys could do a little different next year.
Get rid of that Josh guy.
That's probably coming in an email after that.
All right. Hey, man. Well, you guys, I've watched you guys from afar for a long time. And, I've always, it's crazy we haven't met before today because I've applauded you from afar, and we've probably been at the same place at the same time and just not known it, aside from when I was at your party for half an hour. I knew it. But, it's you guys have been playing up at the top of your game for quite some time, and that's pretty cool. And it's very similar to the Mike and Jim Ring and this upper echelon of industry leaders that other companies are looking to say, how do I instill those business practices? How do I instill that leadership discipline? That's where I think you guys are role modeling. You don't even realize you're role modeling, and so you guys do a heck of a job with it. It's pretty awesome.
Well, thank you, man.
Thank you very much.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I love this. Just hearing what I would take as a drastically different take on how to run a trade show, and it's enlightening seeing like the direction you want to go and the things that are hitting your radar that aren't generally talked about, but would probably end up making a significantly better show.
So refreshing.
Sure.
Just makes you feel
It's
good.
awesome to hear that direction.
I appreciate that. It's I keep going back to the word ecosystem of how I kind of look at this and how we have to go out and definitely nurture and understand what's going on with the manufacturing base, what's going on with customers that used to exhibit at the show that don't anymore. And what happened there? Did they sell the business? Did we do something wrong? Is it not a value prop, not a value add for them anymore? And where's that disconnect happening? So we really are like diving into all of that right now to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward. And, it is a humbling privilege to get to lead PRI, and the people that dive into this with their time, their money, their resources across the entire industry. It's like you just want to protect that. And you want to, like, how do we continue to make that thrive on so many fronts? And, somebody has asked, they're like, well, why are you talking to IMSA or IndyCar? And I'm like, well, the engineer at IndyCar or IMSA is never going to walk through the PRI show looking for tips and tricks on how to change the suspension on Colton Herta's car. But the future guy that's going over the wall, or the future guy that IndyCar is going to hire, they're at the PRI show today.
Right.
We are the feeding system to the upper echelons of racing, and we care for all of racing, the entire, from beginners to most advanced. And, it's really getting that understanding. That's when I say, when I go to IndyCar or IMSA or one of these ones where their techs aren't coming around our show looking for ways to up their game, I'm looking at it from a standpoint of, let me understand what you're trying to do as a sanction. Let me understand how you want to attract that next generation that comes in and helps you grow IMSA and what it's going to look like 10 years from now. And that's like John Doonan is, I just hold him in the highest regard. I don't know if you know him, the president of IMSA, a spectacular human being and a really good leader. But, we spend a lot of time talking about that, because PRI is the incubator to all of that. And we got to take care of the whole system. We got to take care of back to our roots, like I said earlier. And we can't ever take our eye off that ball. But we're having a lot of fun doing it.
Cool. At the same front, like just getting some of that accessibility to those sanctioning bodies, to some of those team leads and mechanics, like it probably helps introduce the guys that maybe don't know how to get there,
right,
and start that feeder program to get up to the next level and meet their heroes, if you will.
Right.
Yeah. And then the other thing we didn't really get a chance to talk about, and I know we can wrap this up, was all the organizations that are doing amazing work. Like there's one called WIMNA. It stands for Women in Motorsports of North America. I'd encourage you to Google it. Lynn St. James is the founder of it, and Cindy Sisson runs it. And they have their annual summit at the front end of the PRI show every year. And I think 2 years ago it had 380 some people. Last year it was 600 some. This year it'll be probably over 800. And it is getting from women that are racing, that are engineer leads, crew chiefs, and all forms of racing on the manufacturing side, getting them involved in motorsports. And, there's all kinds of different things going on with these different organizations. If you just type in motorsports organizations, female or youth, or fill in the blank with whatever you want, you'll be, I think, probably pleasantly surprised at how many organizations have come to fruition over the past 3, 4, 5 years that are really sniper focused on this. And it's pretty cool. It's a cool thing to be part of, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, now comes everybody's favorite time. If you have been listening, then you know what time it is. It is Standard Questions, brought to you by Standard and Wheels, HRE. HRE wheels. Do you know how you mount a 21 HRE?
We found out.
Yeah.
Take
it to somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, you and I.
It's the best way.
Not,
best way to
That's
do
what I
it.
would do.
Not you and me.
Yep. Best way to do it.
That's what I told you. Somebody told you that from the beginning.
You were right. You were 100% right. The other thing, though, is you could spend 7.5 hours on a Sunday trying for one tire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Those Michelin run flats are.
Don't do that.
They're there.
It's impossible. I'm 100% certain that Brian just bought new tires.
It's quite possible.
I don't think that those are the same tires.
We'll get there. I feel like this is a podcast in itself.
In and of itself, yeah. That's a story. It's a story. But nevertheless, standard questions. Standard questions. First up, we're going to go easy. Favorite car movie?
Oh, well, a bucket list car of mine's always been Eleanor. So
you can actually legally say that name now.
Yeah, yeah,
They straighten
yeah.
all that
Exactly. You're
out.
right. You're right. Yeah, yeah. Favorite movie, car movie, probably Bullet, but favorite car in a movie, probably Eleanor. Just because I'm like, that would be a fun car to just tear the roads up on the weekends.
So your dad was a GM guy, and we're
I
driving
know.
two Mustangs.
I know. I've also owned a Fox Body and a Bronco and all kinds of. I know.
He's dropping lots of hints for the first car guess. All right, great. Bullet. That's a good one. Steve McQueen doesn't get as much credit on this podcast specifically as I think he deserves. Badass dude. Dude.
Well, it's just the time, like, I've never filmed a movie, but the videography of that movie at that point in time, it's almost comical to watch it today, but it was cool, man. It was cool. You felt like you were in it.
Cool Hand Luke, one of my all-time favorite movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Love that movie. It's a great movie. You ever watched it?
Years ago.
Yeah, it's
a great movie. It's a great movie. All right, next up. Best piece of advice. We haven't gone there in a while. Go to best piece of advice.
Create a life you cannot wait to wake up to.
It's good.
That. I like that a lot.
You do. That should be your first tattoo. Yeah.
Thug life.
In old English.
Right over Thug Life.
Yeah, exactly. I got to see if I still got room. We'll get it in there.
All right. This used to be everybody's favorite. There's a new favorite now, but formerly everybody's favorite. Your most memorable law enforcement interaction story.
I got my license in 1988. My dad worked for GM at the time. He got a new car every 10,000 miles, and in 1988, he had a 1987 IROC sitting in the garage.
That ain't for you. That's a
but
that's a grown man's car.
He was a amazing man, and he gave me the keys to it. And we took that car out, and my girlfriend at the time, who her father was a policeman, a chief of police in the town that we lived in. She was sitting in the passenger seat, and those cars would just spin the tires for days.
Yeah, that's what they were built for.
Yep. And so I'm in a major intersection in our little suburb of Indianapolis, and just billowing smoke out of the tires. Take off down the road. The cherries come, and cop walks up to me, ready to just take me out and beat me to death. And I'm 17. Got my mullet, Guns N' Roses playing.
Did it grow? Did it grow once you cranked the Z28, or did you have it before then?
The louder Paradise City was playing, the faster the mullet grew.
Yes.
And T-tops were, and I said, he was berating me in every language, every cuss word you could imagine. And I said, "I'm sorry, sir." I looked him in the eye and I said, "I'm so sorry, sir. I was showing off for my girlfriend." And he leans forward and he goes, "Mary Ann?" And he knew her. And he's like, he goes, "Get the hell out of here. If I see you again tonight, I'm putting you in jail." I could give you 5 more stories, but
that's a good one. That's a really good one.
I mean, I know that you probably made great life decisions and you're happy with your wife and your 2 kids. Would have been hard not to marry that one just for the perpetual get out of jail free cards. I want everybody to listen that's listening right now, because this has become a thing. It's not just the story, it's the art in telling the story, and that was beautifully done in the telling of that story.
It really was.
Yeah. Because he's set. I mean, that's a movie. Like you're setting it up and you know what's coming, but you stay on for what's about to happen. Well done. Very well done.
I'll give you another really quick one.
Yeah, do it.
That you guys can make fun of me for, because you guys are way more proficient at working on a vehicle than I am, especially my 19-year-old version. My dad brought home a Cyclone pickup, and we gave me the keys to that. And this was in 1990. I was a senior in high school. And my buddy and I took it out. We raced everything. 550 Ninjas. We were beating them. We raced everything. And I pull into my buddy's driveway, and the front brakes are glowing orange. And I had never seen that before. And I freaked out and grabbed a garden hose.
Oh.
and hosed down the glowing orange
He knew
rotors.
you did that.
It was a work truck at Allison Gas Turbine. He took it back to work the next day. But yeah, I'm sure it had some warped rotors. So
Slight
that's
vibration.
making fun of myself and my ignorance of my 19-year-old version.
They were not orange after that.
No.
Nope.
You
nope,
fixed
they,
it. I mean, in that way.
They were not.
They were
Yeah.
not straight anymore.
No, they weren't.
Yeah, they were not straight.
Uh,
Yeah.
oh wow.
What has overtaken the law enforcement stories?
The last question that we're going to, everybody's favorite. First of all, we're going to go to car,
I gotta do
and then
quite
we're
a bit
going
of research
to
on
we're going
car.
to end in everybody's favorite.
I'm going to go selfishly. I'm going to call this out just because it's a fan favorite of mine, and I feel like there's a fighting chance that, given the Midwest upbringing and the age at which he graduated, and having a dad in General Motors position, Chevy Beretta,
You graduated in 90, you said?
Yes, sir.
So you had
two-door Beretta.
88 you had your license.
It's a good poll.
88, I had my license.
Did you purchase this, or was
like
this
an
a
86.
gift? Your first car?
I purchased it. And I will say that I had my money and $1,000 that was gifted to me when my grandfather passed.
No, you're wrong.
I could be.
That's fine, but I it is a fan favorite.
Yeah.
This is I don't know why I'm going with this. Maybe I
You
just
just
because
gotta
I
go with
looked
your
at the
gut.
it's a 67 C10.
Really.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wish.
This is a C10. No, I'm wrong, but
In the Midwest, dude, you can't own those.
Yeah, it would have
Salt,
been rusted
snow.
away by then.
Gone. Those quit. Those ceased to exist. If it's 67,
Yeah.
In 68, it
In
ceased to
68
exist
it was
in the
done.
Midwest. Yeah, it was gone. It was just overtaken
Yeah, they
by
don't
the
use
climate.
salt in Indianapolis.
Oh, sand.
Yeah,
Is it-
limestone buildings.
what's your
Got it.
I wanted to go with
Bronco 2?
mid '80s Chevy.
That's a good one.
It's pretty good.
I wanted to go mid '80s
just
Chevy
hit me.
Celebrity,
Oh,
but bought it himself.
he bought it.
so it kind of threw me
He
off
bought
there.
it. He bought it.
it was something a little reckless. Then, as a self-bought vehicle, it's
Yeah.
not a real mature decision.
Yeah, it's
Right,
too
it's-
late for too early for an OBS.
But when you say that 67, it's going to end up being an F-body car of some sort. How did that last longer than a C10 in the Midwest?
Because I think guys like burnt the tires off them or broke them, and then they
couldn't
didn't
drive
drive.
them in the
So
winter.
they just stayed in the garage.
It broke down in the winter. All right, that's our guesses. What is it?
I didn't get to guess yet. Give
Oh,
me a
you
second
I
here.
thought you
not-
I'm gonna give him his
throwing
first.
it out there, and then I
you
came
thought
back.
about celebrity, but it's not.
I think I'm going to go S10.
Okay, square body.
Yeah.
All right. You care for color?
No, I don't have a read on the color yet.
Okay, just extended cab or regular.
Extended cab.
All right, all right.
Okay. Dark burgundy, almost a black burgundy, 2-door, Buick, 82 Regal.
Oh,
Man,
that's a regal. If you
yeah,
if
80,
you bought it
82,
yourself, it's a regal.
82 Buick Regal. Well, it had the 3.8.
we're not terribly off with the Beretta then as a two-door, as an 86.
It was
completely
way cooler than a Beretta.
Yeah.
But
A
and
regal,
I had the
man.
it had the same as the Cutlass and the Monte
Yeah.
Carlo, and
Oh, you're right. Yeah, sorry, I was thinking my buddy Boris's
No,
Regal.
not
he
the
had the
front wheel
yeah,
drive regal.
right.
The badass
No.
G body.
Yeah,
no,
the G-body
it was
Regal.
the poor man's Grand National.
Yep.
The
Yeah, that's a
same
good
body
car.
as the Grand National, but mine had in the back seat 2 tower speakers seat belted in to the back seat so that I could have sound
Nice.
until I could put a real sound system in it.
What for a regal is
It's a piece of shit.
it's no. If I mean I get it because
I paid $2,300 for it.
if you'd have been in the South, it'd have been a Cuddy. I mean, a Cutlass was
Well,
same car.
A Cutlass 442, like an 84 Cutlass 442 would have been the holy grail at that point, 85.
Bonus question: you got those towers back there. What are you bumping when you're going cruising around? What are you listening to?
Now or back
No,
when
then,
I was...
then when the towers in there.
Oh, that was the whole hairband. I mean, that was GNR, Motley Crue,
Oh, yeah.
you name it. Yeah, all of that.
Era.
And then the wrong person get in the car, and before you know it, you're listening to Belle Biv DeVoe. But
You never know where the night's going to take you. That'd be Phil getting
Right.
in. Phil get in, and he put that right in. Last but not least, everybody's new favorite. It's a simple one. Sly versus Bert.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone versus Burt Reynolds. In general, in life.
Yeah, just choose your favorite.
Just choose your favorite.
Oh, Burt Reynolds.
It's pretty obvious choice for the informed.
Yeah.
I mean, Sly's the man. He's awesome.
He is.
But
Yeah, he's
Dude,
no
I'll tell you
Burt.
what,
Burt was just the OG of every role he played, and he was just like nobody could have played a Burt Reynolds role better than Burt Reynolds.
You know what
his
Burt
name?
wouldn't do?
What?
That'd be sing like Sly did in Rhinestone with Dolly Parton. I sent you that video, and I know you watched it.
I didn't know if that came from you or Elliot.
It did. It came from me. And right now is about when Ellie is playing it.
Budweiser, you created a monster, and they call him freaking Stein.
For everybody to see.
Dude,
Because-
if I was rolling with Dolly Parton, I'd be singing too.
I wouldn't sing that way.
I would sing
Do
my
you,
fucking heart
have
out.
do you know the reference that I'm speaking of when he sings?
It's
you
not
know,
a good look. It's
do you know
not
the?
it's not a good look.
It's not his best look. It's not his best look. I will say that.
Do you know the name of that song?
No.
Drankenstein.
Okay.
He's talking about getting drunk.
Well, you're putting me on the spot, and I'll do a little research, and I'll come back with something that will be more detrimental to Burt Reynolds' career.
That's fine.
I
didn't-
promise you I will.
This was a listener that sent this in. By the way, I didn't search this out. The listener sent this in. I
That's
watched
crazy.
it,
Keep 'em
and I
coming.
was like,
Keep it
"Wow."
moving.
There's
I
not
thought
a
I
lot.
was pretty knowledgeable until you started throwing out
Watch
topics like this.
Watch Rhinestone.
I mean, when you have a career that's so widely successful,
You get a couple.
Right.
you
swings
get a
and
couple
misses.
misses. Yeah.
Another listener
You don't think-
mentioned that they're both Sly and Bert had big rigs as semi-stars in different movies.
Yeah.
And Sly's big rig was way shittier than Snowman's in Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm surprised listeners even side with you. You just
They're
piss
not. I don't.
everybody off.
They most of them preface with, "I hate to agree with you, but."
Makes sense.
It's kind of like
I was at Barrett Jackson. This was, I want to say maybe, it was right before COVID, I think. And Bert was there, and they were auctioning off the 6.6. It was pretty cool.
It is cool.
I think he passed shortly thereafter, actually.
I'm not going to stoop that low to say negative things about Burt because I like Burt Reynolds.
You
right?
just
I
like
just
Stallone
like
better.
Stallone a fucking shitload more.
Right.
But think about this, right? I want you to picture in your mind that when Michael Jordan just got rejected by the rim, when he went up, it was the finals probably, just went up for a dunk and just boom, rip, just flat on his back. Do you remember that? Or missed a free throw in a critical. Do you remember it? It's probably fucking happened, dude.
I doubt
But with
it.
a career like that,
I doubt
and
it.
being on top,
It hasn't.
it's happened. I promise you, it's happened. It's like Stallone. He's missed a few, dude.
I don't think
but he
Jordan's ever.
reigns
I don't think Jordan's ever
supreme.
missed a dunk.
Okay, you
Not
don't
in the-
remember
not in the
because
finals.
he's had
Jordan's never missed a
he's
dunk
had
in the
such
finals.
An illustrious, successful career.
Yeah, but he never sang with Dolly Drankenstein.
Right.
Way to bring it
All
back.
right, that's a point for you. That's a point.
Mike-
What was the Stallone movie where he had the muscle car?
Cobra.
Cobra.
No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't consider that a muscle car. That was a movie car.
Well,
I think
fair
that was
enough.
one of George Barris's last creations.
Oh, was it a Bears car?
Yeah, it was as bad as a Bears car. I don't know if that was that car in that movie was. You got to admit,
Here's what I'd like to do.
Rambo badass,
Here's
Rocky
First Blood.
badass.
Here's something that AI can do. AI can take and we can lay out a garage. AI can make us a garage of all the vehicles that Stallone has had, and let's lay them out next to the. You don't need it. You need a single car fucking garage for the Trans Am. That's it. One car garage.
Carport.
That's it. You're right. You don't even need a garage. It's a carport.
You know who's
Okay.
got a cool garage that you guys have done, I think, several of his cars through Steve Strope, is Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Rogan's got a great garage.
Yeah, he's got
We
the-
had his Nova. We had that Nova in the Dynamat booth a few years back. Was that? I think that was a Roadster Shop chassis, wasn't it?
The Nova was DSE stuff.
Yeah, I think that was DSE.
Was it?
They were Art
Yeah.
Morrison. It might have been Morrison.
I think it was DSE.
Was it?
Subframe stuff.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Yeah,
Joe's got some cool stuff.
he's got great taste.
Yeah, he does.
I like him, but it's easy. It's always like fat ass, muscle car.
Yeah, he's got a very
Very unique,
quintessential just
Camaros,
muscle
Novas,
cars,
911s, everything's
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, not as a bad thing. It's just Mike. It's been absolutely amazing. You unfortunately were only at a roadster shop party for 30 minutes, so you have your people get in touch with our people. We've got VIP passes. You can also ask Selena. She's always got a pile of passes. I think that's where most of her sales comes from, and that comes back around. She's just handing out roadster shop party passes.
She catching you on the backside with it?
No, she charges.
Mine
us.
was.
She charges us.
I came in through a really good friend of mine named Anthony Busak.
Oh,
Anthony Busak.
Shorts.
Indiana guy.
Shorts.
Jorts.
Indiana boy.
Yeah, he's a dear friend. Great friend.
Anthony's great, man.
He is a good dude. Well, we got you special VIP, like even places that Anthony Busak can't get into passes.
All the places that require full length
Jeans. Yeah.
Perfect.
At SEMA this year, we need the reciprocate now. We're going to come down to PRI. We need a Friday night, like 7 o'clock St. Elmo's reservation. I want right there where everybody can see us.
I think I have a couple. Let me see what I can do.
Perfect. Sounds like a great trip.
Hey, I appreciate it. You guys have been
thanks
great
a lot.
hosts.
I appreciate it.
Really enjoyed the conversation, and I just wish you guys the best on continuing doing what you do, both on camera and off.
Dude, what you're
awesome.
doing is way more important than what we're doing. You keep up the good work. I mean, it's amazing to have these conversations and see behind the scenes of PRI and SEMA, everything they're doing from the show, from the organization to up in DC. I mean, we couldn't be more happy to be able to be in this position to. I think that these are the conversations that haven't had enough light and been deep enough so that people in our industry can actually understand what the hell you guys are actually doing.
For sure.
And how much good.
Keep up the good work. Doing a hell of a job,
appreciate it.
man. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys stay in touch. And worst case, I will see you in November and then again in December.
See you
All right.
soon.
We'll see you. Thanks.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
That was really good.
Yeah, really good, dude. I gotta say that's a sharp dude. I like that.
Really
man.
good dude.
Really, just a great businessman. Very just on it. It makes you realize that PRI, him and Spagnola.
You're good
them,
heads.
and then you look at where SEMA's going. You look at where PRI is going.
Yeah.
And it just you feel good about it.
Right.
Just really, really good dudes, man.
Yeah.
Legit car guys know what's going on in the industry, and I just love his take on everything and looking at things from a little bit different angles.
Yeah.
And
Right.
what you can do to benefit the manufacturers, the shows, the end consumer. Just awesome to hear that.
Both
that
legit,
direction.
both legit car guys, and just great business guys. You know?
Yeah.
Really, really sharp.
It was a
dudes.
great conversation.
I like that.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. That is great, right? Did you like? You didn't. You.
I did not like it.
I could tell you were struggling with it, which I didn't
I
think
liked
would
it.
be your style.
It was a little hot at the front, but
It wasn't that hot.
halfway
I just
through,
finished an energy drink beforehand, so I don't know if I had just
Might
a
have been.
bad.
So
I got a little spice at the front.
hand delivered by me. This
Well, you brought it in.
well, yeah. Well, I brought it right from the fucking distillery.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of a big deal.
I know, but you put the emphasis on the hand delivered part.
And
Put it
you-
on the I brought this straight from the distillery.
Well, yeah,
That's fine.
Hand delivered by me from the distillery.
I could keep going. It's awesome.
Please tell us how you put it in a suitcase and then.
Well, I put it in this bag. Well, look, I put it in this bag right here.
Prominence.
I know, great packaging. Look at that.
Look at that bag.
That's
That's a bag right there.
So we've been down to Louisville a couple times. That's where Josh had his Louisville. That's where Josh had his little bump on the head, little scooter accident.
We're still going back there.
We'll always go back there, but that's the distillery. Out of all the distilleries down there too, that's the one I always make it a point to get to.
Yeah, you like that.
I like the brand. I love the bottles. I'm a bottle guy, and I've loved everything that comes out of there. The toasted barrel, the single barrel. We still have a bottle of the cognac barrel sitting out there that I got last year when I went to that Bourbon and Beyond deal for John Jackson.
I thought we gave it to
No,
John
I brought it
Jackson.
and gave it to him.
Oh, you finally gave it to
Yeah,
him?
we gave it to him.
Okay. But I've got a bottle of that at home. I haven't opened, so I got the second bottle because now I don't feel guilty
I liked it a
drinking
lot.
it. But I tasted it there, and I loved it. And I learned something. So I'm going to drop some Josh.
Here we go.
A little Josh knowledge. You probably already know this, but you know the difference between sweet mash and sour mash?
I do not. The base. One's corn and one's wheat.
No. A sour mash, like all your big distillers, the mash they carry over a certain percent of it for the next batch.
Okay.
Whereas a sweet mash, they
It's
yard
brand new?
all out, and it's all brand new.
Okay.
And they, their claim to fame is they're a smaller family-owned distillery. They can do things like that. They don't make as many barrels, not as many
New
bottles.
mash and old mash.
Yeah.
New is sweet, old is sour.
Yep.
All right.
And so the outcome of it is supposed to be a more like, fruity, flavor-forward bourbon, which I think
It is flavor forward.
to me that stands out. The other thing that I think is cool about that is the single barrel. We've gotten it a few times, and it always has that little. They name it every time they barrel it.
Yep.
So it's the flavor profile, and it could be like
Grape
cherry pie
smash
or like grape smash and
barbecue something.
That's still one of my favorites.
Barbecue potato chips.
and just a cool
corn
deal.
dog. I think they do a corn dog one.
I don't know for sure.
That's
Maybe
a PRI edition.
PRI edition.
Yeah.
The single barrel that's a cool thing to keep you coming back to buying
Yeah.
the same bottle essentially.
Right, but it's
Just because
different
it's always different a little bit, but
because it's single barrel.
right.
Different one.
But I like that a
They
lot.
have like pretty drastic different taste on the single barrel. Like the
They
little
do.
sticker on the side. I just wish they make it a little bit clearer on which is the single barrel and which is not. 'Cause it's just
So
written
hard.
really
Yeah.
small.
Yeah.
So you walk by it a lot. But yeah, I've got one.
This is
that we got down
109
there,
proof.
The sugar plum, and then the other
Yes,
was
the sugar plum was good.
Sweet heat, which they told us like when you're tasting it, it's gonna taste like a barbecue rub. You're like, no, it's not gonna taste like a barbecue rub. That sounds horrible. I think the bottle's still sitting out there.
and you pick it up.
Yeah, and it's like one of the most flavor forward bourbons.
I just
Yeah.
got the new one is peach cobbler, so I haven't opened it, but we'll give it a shot. But the rum barrel's a cool one because you really can't find it anywhere.
Yeah.
They've got it there periodically
Now, how did this one get here?
via myself in that cool little bag, and I brought it back
You were
this
able to lift
morning.
that whole thing?
I did the exact thing that I bitch about when other people do it. is
You
that
left it
I got
in
up,
the car?
I got up really early this morning and left Louisville, Kentucky,
Little,
to come back.
yeah.
After that, I was on a educational journey of
Ayahuasca.
learning about things like sour mash and sweet mash, so I could share them with the listeners.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing I do for the sake of the
I
listeners.
bet you were on a trip with some sweet mash.
Yeah, that and just excessively drink. I think I'm still fucking drunk, dude. To be honest with you,
Probably.
after the last 4 days of.
Hey,
partying,
dude.
but
Did you hit up north of Bourbon?
I did north of Bourbon.
I hate you for
Those
that.
guys. Good.
in
Oh
and
my
of
god,
itself.
it never disappoints. Never disappoints. Ordered virtually every cocktail on the menu, as usual.
I don't like the fact that you did that.
Yeah,
You can
it's-
do a lot of things where I'm like, all right,
I
cool.
want to.
That's something I don't like.
To be honest,
Here
I
we
think
go.
it was more enjoyable without you there, because there's a certain sense of satisfaction I get knowing that I'm enjoying this and you're not.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now
not
that track.
Not that I dislike you being there. I like hanging out with you.
But you like the fact that you're
Yeah,
doing
but
it and
I
I'm
like
not
the
doing
fact
it.
that I'm doing it.
Smile knowing he's going to
So
get out of your face.
you like me being there. However, you like me doing without more than that.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
that tracks.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
And I'm not even mad at that.
The standout again, dude. I tried a bunch of stuff, and the one I come back to, what's the
Peanuts one?
Yeah, the Mr. Peanut.
Mr. Peanut's first handshake.
Is that what it?
Yeah.
It's
good.
I think I had like 10 of them.
The flavor profile of it. I tried a bunch of weird stuff just because I know it's like, dude, don't get the thing that you think you'll like. Just try it all.
Yeah.
And then I come back to that, which is Coke, bourbon, and peanuts.
Yeah. My mom would never drink a drop of bourbon her entire life, but I bet you she would love that one. This was a really good show.
Great show. Great show.
You're never
great
gonna
bourbon.
you're never gonna find this rum barrel finished if you can.
Yeah,
Peerless.
you can get it on like auction sites. It's not a crazy expensive bottle. If
No, it's just
if you
hard to
can find
find.
it, but
It's not expensive. It's just hard to
but
find.
I really like
even
it.
their
Yeah.
single barrel stuff is
Really
you
like
never
it.
come across really, not on a regular.
Yeah, every once in a while, rare.
Yeah.
the toasted, the double oak, the high rye, any of them. I'm
The
always-
high rye.
Always a fan of
I,
the Peerless stuff.
you can find the high rye a bunch. I always keep a couple of bottles of the high rye. I make a lot of cocktails with the high rye Peerless.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. It's a good for that.
It's very eloquently said.
Good
I
stuff.
hand delivered it. It's good for that. Great episode. I think that gives a good sneak peek, especially timely right here after SEMA. I think people understand more about like what the hell's going on. It's more than just a car show. There's a lot of things at play.
It is.
And there's some good people running it. That's what's important.
Yep.
Other news. Elio put down there right now. I think
Nothing
Bert's
big.
beating the shit out of
Talk about.
Stallone.
Nothing too big to talk about. Yeah, it's just let that go. It's
All right.
not that big of a deal.
I guess we'll see you guys again next week. Bye.
It's
What?
driving me fucking nuts. The fact that I'm not ready to shut it down yet. It's driving me fucking nuts. The fact that anybody sides with you on that. It really does.
I think it's an age thing.
No, it's just like it's a right and wrong thing.
How?
Yeah, he's better. I'm not saying that Stallone's not worthy.
What did
he's
we
just
figure
not.
out? Well, we were coming back from.
Oh God, I can't believe this is going on.
Well, we were coming back from that.
You can edit this whole thing out.
No, we don't need to because this hurts Josh big time. We were coming back from that concert, and what do? We looked up the fact that
The gross.
well, it was the gross, and then the fact that Stallone has cast Burt Reynolds in some of his like mediocre movies that he is. It's almost like he's an extra.
I wouldn't say that.
We found
Like a pity hire,
No,
maybe.
I wouldn't say that.
what was the
I would say you better be careful if you were to back to your AI. If you had AI who's a bigger movie star.
Oh, I mean that's just absolutely destroys him, dude.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Maybe so. I'm going to pick Stallone in every way.
Of course you are.
I think right now, I know we played it earlier, but Elliot right now plays another little snippet of, and maybe Beerenstein. It's Drinkenstein or Beerenstein.
Dude, we found.
How
the
about this?
ones-
How about I just pull it up right now, and then we can watch it all together?
Yeah, bring it up because we found some that were more detrimental to.
You've never
Burt
found
Reynolds.
anything in the history of the world that was more detrimental than this song.
We're gonna pull this up. I'm gonna read through just some of the headlines here, some of the bangers.
It is Drinkenstein. It's Drinkenstein. That's the name of the song, Drinkenstein.
Pretty badass cowboy
Yeah,
boots.
it's got a good jam. Fucking
It's like a Hank Senior suit there.
hits pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Just wait. Look at that face. What is up with that face?
Budweiser, you created a monster, and they call
It's actually not that bad.
Frankenstein.
Drinkenstein.
And the tavern down the street is the laboratory.
This is gonna be hard to
where
come
he
back
did
from.
the transformation.
Seriously,
I'm just-
that's a low blow.
It's just the fact that it exists.
Take this off. Take this off, fucking now. I don't think that's real.
It's 100% real.
Yeah,
I don't like that at all.
Nobody does. That's why he can't win. You
That's him
cannot.
at his worst. Maybe that's him at his worst.
You know what Bert was at his worst?
I'm trying to find out.
Yeah, nude on a bearskin rug, on a polar bear rug, actually, to be exact. That's his worst, and he looked damn good.
I'm gonna have to spend a little time. I'm gonna put the work in because there were some smoking guns.
What makes you concede? Is this the end of the season tally?
No, I don't need any outside influence, dude. I don't need anybody to reassure me.
So, Drinkenstein didn't do it.
No, that doesn't. No,
That's not even a blow. That's not even a hole in the ship.
it's
That's a crater in the
Dude,
ship.
I'll tell you
it's
what.
taking on water.
I think it's not really how hard you hit. It's how hard you can get hit and
keep moving
moving forward.
Yeah.
So he continues to move forward after that pretty devastating hit.
That's a bad hit, but he kept on. Fuck, I'm trying to.
There's nothing.
Dude, I'm
You
just trying
can't
to-
find anything
because
bad.
I'm trying to flip through all these just garbage fucking movies.
That's incorrect. There hasn't been a
there,
garbage
there you
movie.
go, Smokey and the Bandit. There's the one that everybody knows him for.
Yeah.
Other than that, he was with Chris Christopherson.
The longest yard. The longest yard.
Yeah, with Adam Sandler. That's a good one.
No, the first one.
Huh?
The original.
Oh, the original. Well, he came back and did it again.
Good grief. I'm so
Of
mad.
Smokey and the Bandit too. Everybody knows that one. Wrong.
All right, let's wrap this
Yeah,
up.
wrap it up.
I'll see
wrap it up. I
everybody.
gotta put some work in here.
Yeah, you could keep trying. I'll see everybody next week. Let us know in the DMs. You guys have been great.
Oh wait, Smokey's back. That's Smokey the third.
Bye.
Smokey the third. Cannonball Run 2. He tried giving that one another run too.